for Baylor. Ebner straight ahead. Johnson lassoed him from behind, but instead he pushes across for the Bears touchdown.
Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Puts it up and through as he climbs the ladder and sails.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Over 900 yards of offense as Dalton gets it into the hands of C.D. Lamb. And he takes it in for another Cowboys touchdown. And an exclamation point here in Week 16.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Looking to the end zone. Got a big touchdown.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Well, just like that, the magic of, driving about 80 to 90 miles south. David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak. We are live in studio today at SicEm365 Radio. Hayden Bumpus, who was with us in Arlington. Jack McKenzie in studio, who was with us in Arlington. And we are back after a couple of days of Big 12 Media Days. And we'll take you up until 6 o'clock. Our interview one-on-one with Dave Aranda. We'll play that again today. At just after 5 o'clock today, if we can. We'll have an update from the Open Championship. Also, Art Strickland, PGA Tour analyst, will join us as well at about 4:45. And we're also going to hear from one of the newest members of the Baylor softball team, Ryan Trochum. She played at Midway, has been at Illinois. She will join us today here momentarily. And Baylor women's basketball is another member of the Nikki Collins staff that's a little bit outside the box and still trying to figure out exactly the details with that. We'll hopefully get Chloe Pavlick on the show at some point, perhaps early next week. Okay, so I want to get to these quotes. I sent these to Jack. This is from the interview we had with Dave Aranda yesterday. That was 20 minutes or so. Here are some of the responses on the SicEm365 Premium Board. And a lot of times it's dangerous to put any of these quotes up, especially from message boards, right, Paul and Craig? You never know. Jack, do we have those available? All right, here's the first one. This is about the Dave Aranda interview. Fantastic interview. We appreciate that. The part toward the end when he talks about what person over football means to him personally was the most human I've ever heard a coach sound. Craig, you and Paul, and we discussed this quite a bit throughout the show yesterday after he joined us. Much of a deep thinker he is, and also, so a lot of people heard that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you couldn't hear it with what he was talking about and how he was talking. So I'm glad that people picked up, I think, on the obvious that he's, somebody that's a deep thinker and has, put a lot of time and thought and effort into what they're trying to do and what they're trying to accomplish. So, yeah, that was a good quote.
All right, from Gunny on the Dave Aranda interview. That was awesome. Appreciate the comments. But it was like spending 20 minutes with a combination of Jedi Knight, Buddhist monk, ninja genius, football guru. He is going to be such a great head coach for us. Also, from Grand Grizz 65. Folks, best interview with CDA I've heard. That's Coach Dave Aranda. I've never thought anyone could be better than Rule, but in retrospect, I come to learn that CMR, Coach Matt Rule, spoke intended to maybe say things he thought people wanted to hear. Coach Dave Aranda speaks from the heart. As soon as players understand this, he'll be a very successful coach.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to – I mean, I think it's better just to hear from people who are giving these comments because I think we kind of all said what we had to say yesterday. I don't really know what to add on. I mean, it's good to hear these people's opinions, but, yeah, they're just echoing what I've already thought. So, I'm glad that people are feeling the same way about it.
All right, so one more. I just wanted to share this. Grin and Bear, so interesting. As we get the fourth quote up, so interesting. Loved his description of testing, learning style of each player, placing fast processing players in the center, defensive, interior linebacker, and safety, with others, job-specific players on the edge, like he mentioned, linebackers on the outside, defensive ends, etc., edge rushers, and cornerbacks. Yeah. So those were just some of the responses to Dave Aranda from the board after the interview was posted yesterday.
Yeah, I found that pretty interesting, that's what they go and do to make sure that, they're teaching people right, and how do you get to know them, and they didn't get to, people responded,
Is that part of analytics?
Yeah, but it's also part of just, working with people. There's 5 of us in the room, and to get through to all 5 of us probably respond to things differently and learn differently. So how do we learn? How do you motivate? Some people get motivated by being challenged. Some people get motivated by being incentivized. Some people get motivated, certain ways. Some people you can come down hard on, and they can take that information and go with it. Some people, if you come down hard on them, it breaks them. So it's just, how do you deal with individual people, and how do you come up with the best scope for your team?
Yeah, I agree on that. I think everybody, I don't know, I was one of those that I needed most of the coaches that I loved the most were the ones that kind of hammered me. I needed that. It didn't mean I didn't need every once in a while someone to pat me on the butt, but I mean the ones that, golly, the ones I liked are the ones that kind of came after me a little bit. And everyone has a different personality with that. Also, by the way, one note about football. Joey McGuire and family are on their way to San Antonio, I think it's for San Antonio. The Texas Sports Hall, the coaches' school going on. He will be honored tomorrow night to be a part of the Texas High School Football Hall of Honor for his time and what he did at Cedar Hill. Congratulations to Joey McGuire for an honor that he obviously earned at his time at Cedar Hill, the Baylor assistant head coach. Now, Nikki Collin, everyone's been waiting, and I don't know about everyone, but the people have been waiting for yet her last piece to her coaching staff. And today it was announced that Chloe Pavlick is one of her new assistant coaches. Comes to Waco, 3 years in Brooklyn, where she led a lot of social media content for multiple entities related to both basketball and off the court, including being a content creator for Facebook, where she was selected in the company's first Black Creator Fund, We the Culture. She also produced and edited scripts for characters' confessions with Chloe. She has a massive social media following. She was a player at Maryland. She was a GA at UConn. I don't know much more about her basketball and what she brings to the table with that, but this is kind of thinking outside the box. And at some point, we hope to be able to have a chance to talk to Chloe.
Yeah, very. But, of course, if she can navigate the social media world, which is, especially now with name, image, and likeness, going to be really important. So, pretty clever to try to grab somebody and add them to their staff that knows that world and can navigate it really well.
Yeah, I don't know what her responsibilities are, or what all is going to go into that job. It was certainly a surprise, because I don't know that anybody would have been like, I think Chloe Pavlich is going to be the next assistant coach. I mean, Nobody could have said that. So yeah, I don't know much about her. I mean, her resume looks pretty solid. Being at UConn obviously had to be incredibly influential, learning under Gino, and she's got, good deal of experience. So, I'm interested to hear more from Nikki Collin on what this addition means to her and what she was kind of thinking and making this addition and why it made sense. So, yeah, it's a changing world. Maybe that's something that people have to keep in mind when, making hires and whatnot. But again, not really knowing exactly what she's going to be involved in.
Right.
Kind of hard to gauge too much on what to expect.
One of the quotes that she has in this press release, it's truly such an incredible time in sports, student athletes finally having a chance to take advantage of their personal brands. And of course, I'm ready to go to work to get us back to a national championship. But I do believe that might have a lot to do with their hiring. Yeah. Here's a note. This is really, to me, interesting here. In addition to her role as lead content strategist at Overtime WBB, she was also talent and head of women's sports at Overtime, hosted a Snapchat original show, Hype School, more than 2 million subscribers, averaged 1 million views per episode. Also served on Together as a talent and emerging platform strategist with TikTok. She also served as an on-camera talent with Sue Bird, Alex Morgan, Simone Manuel, and Chloe Kim's media company. She's also been a sideline reporter for the Big Ten Network. And it's a different, I don't know what that means when it comes to what she will do out in recruiting, or if she's now someone, because of the launch of name, image, likeness, that you start to have someone like this on your staff. That doesn't mean she doesn't know basketball. She does. She played it 4 years at Maryland. Was a grad assistant at UConn.
Well, you can know two things.
Been a broadcaster. Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. If you have somebody who knows all these things, then that's good. That's good for the overall brand.
Yeah, it's hard for me to wrap my head around, when you think about, hey, this guy's coaching safeties, and this guy is coaching linebackers, and this is what they do, and to add in, like, this whole multimedia part of it, it's just, I'm interested to see what that looks like, and obviously that's a smart direction to go in because of all the influencers and, a lot of those now including college athletes and the world that has become. So I'm just curious, like, on the court, how does that translate?
No, I agree.
And so, yeah, it's cool. She seems like, like I said, her resume is super impressive. And so off the court, they should, have some pretty good content and be able to recruit, and it sounds like that's all going to make good connections. I just don't know on the court how that
I don't
translates.
know the X's and O's part of it, other than the fact she played it and also coached it as a GA and also has broadcasted it. The connection to Sue Bird among some of the other athletes I mentioned may be interesting. Perhaps you can take advantage of that when it comes to recruiting as well. We're going to hear from Ryan Trochum, Baylor softball. Got a commitment from her. She's transferring, a grad transfer from Illinois. Also, Rachel Hartenberger, both of them, she was at Houston, are transferring to play for Glenn Moore at Baylor softball. Ryan played at Midway. Obviously, the family very much involved here in the Waco area with their mother and father, Ed, and also Sean. We'll hear from Ryan Trochum here in the next segment here. I got a couple of interesting notes about her. Daryl Williamson. He won the 400-meter gold medal same year that Jeremy Warner did. Mm-hmm. Will join us today at 4:15. His thoughts about Michael Ford, the new track and field coach, and also just about the Olympic Games coming up. In studio Monday, Will London III, who's on his way to Tokyo late next week for the Tokyo Games, will join us on Monday in the 3 o'clock hour. That's Open Championship. I'm done. Again, my team is done. Rob Bolton, his team is done because both Mark Leishman and Tyrell Hatton did not make the cut last we saw. But Paul's at 19 under. Craig's at 7 under. Hayden's at 12 under. Louis Oosthuizen, 11 under par, has a 2-shot lead over Colin Morikawa. And also Jordan Spieth is 3 back. Dustin Johnson had a huge day to jump to 7 under. He's just 4 shots back. But they went low. The weather's been incredibly good at Royal St. George's.
I'm gunning for you, Bump. Just know it.
Yeah, he did a good job in place of Armstrong. And great job making those picks, it appears so far. And yeah, there's some crazy scores out there right now. Typically, we're talking about the cut lines and whatnot, and no, you got like guys 17 under. It's just pretty crazy.
Yeah, I'm out. Rob's out, so it's down to you 3, and you never know how the scores can flip.
And when Armstrong gets back, we may have to include Hayden in this.
No, he's done.
He's done. So Hayden's done. Wally pipped him.
May not come back at all. We may not want him. No, Armstrong, great to have you. I hope everything. It seems like Armstrong's doing well. Had a procedure. Everything's gone well, and he should be back with us as early as possibly Monday, or otherwise Jack might need a procedure at some point. All right, when we come back, Ryan Trochum, Baylor softball transfer, played at Midway, was at Illinois, and she's now with Glenn Moore and his softball team. She's next on SicEm365 Radio. Woodway Family Center, hosting Explore skateboarding clinics all the way through this month and also into August and even September for ages 6 to 13. You can go to woodwayfamilycenter.com and look for the link for the Explore skateboarding clinics. Also, they have fun clinics going on this summer, gymnastics, basketball, and tennis. You can register now. And even with that, you can discover woodway.com for more information on what you are looking for when it comes to the hotels you need to stay at if you're going to be at a clinic or much more. But don't forget woodwayfamilycenter.com for Woodway Family Center and the clinics, the registrations, and much more for sports throughout the Waco area.
Three Nations Brewing Company is a recognized award-winning brewery that has been recognized for being a community leader, a successful business, and most of all for brewing great beer. Three Nations offers the community something fun all throughout the week. Wednesday night bingo, Thursday trivia, New Beer Friday promotes fresh beer from their small batch system and live music every Saturday night. There are regular celebrations such as St. Patrick's Day, Switchyard, Cinco de Mayo, July 4th, new beer launches, dog rescues, annual anniversary events, and Oktoberfest parties. Three Nations is a dog-friendly and family-friendly brewery. Don't miss out on the fun. So come visit Three Nations Brewing Company on East Vandergrift off I-35 in Carrollton.
All right, we're back in studio. Craig Smoak, Paul Catalina, David Smoak, and joined by Ryan Trochum. She's now a part of the Baylor softball team, played at Midway, and she was a three-time Super Centex player, a pick for the softball team when she was at Midway High School. Joins us on SicEm365 Radio. So what, you just came home, you got homesick, you couldn't leave, right?
Yes, sir. That's exactly right.
So kind of go through this process, Ryan, and really what it means to you, the opportunities that are now there, and how kind of convenient this might be.
So the process kind of started back when I was at Illinois. You know, my junior year was my COVID year. And after I graduated from Illinois, I was like, man, like I should really consider taking this COVID year. I didn't go out how I wanted to. And so I thought, what better place to do that than Baylor University? And just to be able to come home to Waco so my parents can see me play, my grandparents, and just the community that helped me become who I am. I feel like I owe it to them to come back here and just show them what I can do.
How much of that is also just, the COVID year for everyone, regardless of sport, was kind of mentally exhausting, and being able to be home can kind of put you back in the mindset that you want to be?
The COVID year, it actually taught me a lot about myself, and I learned to put myself higher up in my priorities and do what's best for me. And I know that coming back to Baylor is one of the things that I thought was best for me, and I'm really excited for it.
Just what a blessing was that to get the news that, this was a possibility, and that for people like yourself in that situation, that seniors, weren't going to have their time run out during a COVID year. When you heard that news and thought that may be a possibility, was that just, the biggest blessing for you?
It was. It really was, especially because just to have something that I worked so hard for, be taken away from me for months, I just thought that, man, this isn't what I deserve, and I know that I can do more. So I'm just really excited for this new opportunity. You have pretty fortunate, Ryan, throughout your career, all the time you've been an athlete, from even when you were younger, high school and college, to kind of avoid being injured. And you had to deal with a high ankle sprain recently, first time, and you missed a lot of time with that. How frustrating was that? And what did you learn about yourself during that time? So that was really frustrating. That was the first time in my life that I'd ever been hurt. And I know that day at practice, I was like, wow, I cannot believe this just happened. And so, for me, it taught me that I'm not only an athlete. I had put so much of my worth into softball and just being Ryan Trokum, the softball player. And once I got hurt and had that taken away from me, I was like, wow, I can focus on myself. I become the person I want to become off the field. And so it was just a lot of growth for me. And I was older in my career when I got hurt and experienced this. So I felt really mature in the way I handled it. And like I said, that was my senior year, so I didn't really get to go out how I wanted to. So just to have this opportunity to come back to Waco, to go to Baylor, and show what I have is amazing. When was the last time you played a game at Getterman Stadium? That was my junior year at the University of Illinois in February, about the second or third week in February, right before COVID hit. And it was just so nice to see all my friends and my family in the stands. And it was just overwhelming because I never got to really experience that. It was always just my parents that would come up to Illinois and watch me play. But to have other people in the community, people that while I was growing up got to watch me play, just to have them back there and supporting me felt amazing. So being back in Waco, you're going to have, the family able to be there all the time, all the community, like you said. But how much of the softball team, how much were you familiar with the coaches, perhaps even some of the players? Is it a situation you're walking into where you already kind of have some relationships built, or is this something that's kind of going to be a restart? This is definitely a program where I can walk into this program and know that I have relationships with the coaches, Coach Moore, Coach Newman, Coach Donegan, Coach Diaz. I've known all of them growing up, especially like with my dad working Baylor baseball camp and just Coach Moore when he was recruiting me in high school. Just the relationships I have with these coaches is great, and they're so personable. And I'm so excited to finally come back to Waco and play for them and play for people I know who believe in me and trust me.
All right, but the biggest news today is not, and for Glenn Moore in softball, you and Rachel, who transferred as well from Houston, I have been given information that perhaps you've had kind of a big moment in your life happen recently. Can you tell us and share that with us?
Yes, sir. I just got engaged to PJ Carmichael. I met him while I was at the University of Illinois. He worked with the baseball team. He's from New Orleans, and I believe next year he is going to be volunteering with McLennan Baseball and Coach Thompson, and so I'm so excited for him to come to Waco.
Wow. Okay.
Congratulations.
That all worked. And now, and with all due respect to PJ, his father is the offensive coordinator under Sean Payton with the New Orleans Saints. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, it is. He is the offensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints, and he is amazing at his job, and it's so cool to see what he does. And I'm so excited for this season.
Have you had a chance to meet, not, of course, I'm sure him, but have you had a chance to meet Sean Payton?
No, sir, I haven't, but hopefully soon towards the end of the summer.
Okay, well, that's awesome. All right, so congratulations. What was Glenn Moore's reaction when you kind of made the final decision?
He was so excited. He told me, like, he was so excited to have me in the green and gold and just to come back to Waco, and that he finally got me. And so I'm just excited.
All right, congratulations, Sean and Ed. How happy? I mean, you're happy. PJ's happy. Glenn's happy. What about mom and dad?
Oh, they're excited. They know that they're not going to have to travel up to Illinois to go sit in the cold games, sit in the snow sometimes. They're excited that I'll pretty much be in the backyard here in Waco, and that they can just come whenever they want.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Congratulations, Ryan. Thanks for your time. Great to have you back in Waco. Where you stay?
Thank you so much.
Ryan Trochum, again, Baylor softball transfer. So PJ Carmichael, that is Pete's son, offensive coordinator with the Saints. So she just got engaged. She's transferring to Baylor, back home, and has a chance to be able to play in front of Ed and Sean, her father and mother as well.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, you see this from time to time, but it might be someone who starts close to home and then decides, oh no, I want to get away, and so to have like that transfer rule, I think people forget about like the good benefits of it. Is that someone in her situation can not only have that year, but also come back to home and play in front of the home crowd for a season, and I think that's great. That's a great opportunity, and she sounds fired up. And why wouldn't you be? I mean, you got your time away from the hometown, right, for a few years, and kind of went and grew and did your own thing, and now you get to come back and just have one more run and do it in front of the people you love. So I think that's really cool.
That's what the transfer portal is supposed to be.
Yeah,
like this is the perfect thing for it.
Yeah, and that's Ryan. She's the local flavor of this because she played at Midway. Rachel Hartenberger from Houston was a pitcher, 3.98 earned run average, 3 years at Houston. From Alvin, guess who's from Alvin?
Nolan Ryan.
14-13 record and almost 200 innings.
Has anyone ever answered that question and not said Nolan Ryan? I mean, who would you even? I'm gonna have to look up Alvin, Texas notables in the commercial break.
I wonder if somebody's like, who's from Alvin? Joe Davis, and you're like, oh, great.
Oh,
good for Joe.
We need to Google famous people from Alvin. Thanks to Sean, by the way. Her mother, who's the athletic director at McLennan Community College, Ed with Waco ISD, she gave me the nugget about PJ Carmichael and the high ankle sprain. If you've been an athlete and you've never been injured before, that can be a shock to the system, along with what she said she dealt with involving the COVID year as well.
Well, that's cool that fiance is going to be able to coach with MCC.
Yeah, that's really, really cool.
Mitch Thompson, it doesn't get much better than him. So for a baseball guy to come in and be able to, work with Mitch and a national championship staff, I think that'll be hugely beneficial to him. So, like, you look all around from her to her family, her parents, her fiance, whatever, everybody's got good news, and it's all coming to the Waco area. So I think that's Pretty cool. A feel-good transfer portal story, transfer story for sure when, it's oftentimes the ones that are kind of controversial that get highlighted. But I did look up famous people from Alvin, Texas. Instrumental rock band By the End of Tonight. Actor Larry Wade Carroll. Professional bull rider Douglas Duncan. Bill Kreider, an author. Nathan Eovaldi of Major League Baseball.
That's right.
That one does ring a bell.
There you go.
Former Bill, Joe Ferguson, former St. Louis Cardinal in the NFL, Gary Keithley, Nolan Ryan, Patriots wide receiver Gunnar Olszewski, Broadway actor Austin Miller, and U.S. Congress member Randy Weber. So there you go. So basically it's Ryan and Eovaldi, in my opinion, as far as the power rankings go.
Daryl Williamson, gold medalist in 2004, former Baylor All-American champion, will join us at 4:15 today.
Yeah. Somebody needs to do a story, like a real deep dive on Gunnar Olszewski or Olszewski, whatever how you say it. He's from Alvin. He went to Bemidji State, which is in Minnesota.
I've seen that though when scores trickle in.
Yeah, he went to Bemidji State, and then made it to the NFL. So.
All right, when we come back, 254-339-1122. Open the lines up. Also the text messages as well. Love to hear your thoughts and comments. What if you watched, listened, or read about anything Big 12 Media Days in the last couple of days on Wednesday and Thursday? Anything in particular catch your attention? 1, 2, or 3 things, you call. You tell us. You let us know. We mentioned and saw some of the quotes from on the board about the Dave Aranda interview he spent with us. I was told his dinner at the Quorum last night in Dallas went really well. Had a couple of people text me and said, hey, he is really, really not matured, not grown up, but really, really has come a long way because of just how uncertain things were last year. And you couldn't do that kind of thing. And, we already discussed that with him many, many times. This is SicEm365 Radio. PettyClinicLowT.com. Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance man you want to be. How? You can check your testosterone levels. How? He can help you make sure that if something with Father Time is taking away what you used to have, energy, sex drive, focus, whatever else it might be, he can check your blood work, and if your testosterone levels are too low, he can put you in a program to increase them so you can feel like the high-performance man you want and used to be and need to be at PettyClinicLowT.com.
Three Nations Brewing Company is a recognized award-winning brewery that has been recognized for being a community leader, a successful business, and most of all for brewing great beer. Three Nations offers the community something fun all throughout the week. Wednesday night bingo, Thursday trivia, New Beer Friday promotes fresh beer from their small batch system and live music every Saturday night. There are regular celebrations such as St. Patrick's Day, Switchyard, Cinco de Mayo, July 4th, new beer launches, dog rescues, annual anniversary events, and Oktoberfest parties. Three Nations is a dog-friendly and family-friendly brewery. Don't miss out on the fun. So come visit Three Nations Brewing Company on East Vandergrift off I-35 in Carrollton.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to PettyClinicLowT.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house-cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasonings, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The SicEm365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
All right, here we go. SicEm365 Radio. Grayson Grundhafer, who was at Big 12 Media Days with us yesterday, will join us at 3:45. How about this? Ryan Trochum just put up on her Twitter page to us, I had such a blast talking to you all. Excited to come back, represent Waco in the best way possible. Even had a warm welcoming for Sneaky Pete 333 on Twitter. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, she was fun to talk to, and, rooting for her now, and happy for her that she's back. I saw Shane Anderson, which I'm going to have to get used to saying Midway football coach Shane Anderson. I saw him congratulate her, and several others. So people seem to be fired up that she's back. She seems to be fired up, and, just happy for everybody.
Well, the Trokum family is very popular in the Waco sports community.
Clearly.
And Sean's been at MCC a long time, and Ed has coached a bunch of different people in different sports, football and baseball, and lots of different things. And I mean, he's just a great dude. So everybody's happy to see her home.
So a note about the U.S. women's and men's Olympic teams. The men, we know, lost their first 2 games, Nigeria, which was shocking. And then they lost, to Australia or whoever it was the next game. Right? Is that right? Or did they bounce back and win that?
No,
but
they lost to Australia.
But they lost a couple of a game or two. It was kind of a mess. Not everyone's there. And then the news now comes down that Bradley Beal, right?
Yeah, he's in a health and safety protocol.
Okay, and then Kevin Love announces he's just leaving, and that's one of those picks that, of course, got some, what's he there for? In ways because he hasn't really done much for recent years. And, of course, there was the idiot comments from Jalen Rose. But, so have they replaced him, Paul?
Yes, JaVale McGee.
Are you kidding me, dude? JaVale McGee is an Olympian? Come on.
Yeah, and San Antonio Spurs forward Keldon Johnson are taking the open spots. So, yes, JaVale McGee is an Olympian.
JaVale McGee is Team USA. Okay. I mean, he may have I'm sure he's done some Team USA stuff in the past. I think pretty much everybody has at one point or another. But the dude's like a walking joke, kind of almost a meme in a way, or has been the last several years. And he's a goof. I mean, basically, he's just one of those guys you're like, man, good thing he was born tall. He's just, not to say he's without talent or anything like that. He's just a kind of a goofier player overall.
I think, there's a lot of things at play here. A lot of the guys who normally would do this are injured. A lot of the guys who've been doing it for a while are older. Several of the guys are, in the NBA Finals. So you've got those problems going on with you right now with the U.S. Olympic team. And then I think just the COVID year and everything, I think there's a lot of guys who just didn't feel like dealing with it. And
he's averaged. He's his career, he averages 8 points a game.
He's not that good.
No.
I don't understand.
The other thing is he's an older guy. I mean, Kevin
33.
Love was too. He's been playing since 2008-9. I didn't know he played with the Mavericks for a year or two. But okay.
I just, you know what? I'm sure there's some NBA fan out there. I don't know, maybe not. That, you know, there's like, oh, well, this is why JaVale McGee's a great addition or whatever. But like, I just can't even take it serious. I can't take Team USA serious when JaVale McGee's on the roster. I'm sorry, I never take him that serious. So I just can't. Yeah, I mean, guys just don't want to play in this thing. And you know what? Their interest level is not very high. My interest in Team USA basketball in the Olympics isn't very high either. Like, the whole Dream Team thing was fantastic, but like we've proven when we want to go win the gold, we'll go win the gold, and there's not much anybody else can do about it. But if these guys don't want to go win a gold, then, you know, I want Team USA to win, but I'm certainly, like, I'm not interested in watching JaVale McGee on Team USA. If you want me to watch Team USA basketball after just wrapping up an entire NBA season that was directly after another NBA season, like, I've seen the stars. So I want to continue to see the stars, not the guys who are like the fifth wheel to the stars. But that's where we are now at this point. So I can say, just like not LeBron, but like a lot of the big players, you know, interest levels clearly down. Mine is too for Team USA basketball. But then again, it's not even close to the top of my favorite summer Olympic events anyways. For some, it probably is. But for me, it's already the NBA. The Olympics is for the other stuff that I find cool that I don't get to see all the time.
Here's a note about the women's U.S. Olympic basketball team. Paul, thank you for sharing this with me. Australia beat them by 3 in an international friendly. Isn't that a soccer thing?
Well, it could be. Yeah, I guess.
Don't start stealing like.
But you know, the Australian team, they had a player that has left. Our lovely Twitter maven, Liz Cambridge.
Oh, really?
Is out.
And she's
of the Australian Olympic team.
Why?
Well, she had gotten into fracas at practice, apparently.
It wasn't her fault either.
Yeah, and then she said, "Well, I'm not really all there. I'm not at the place I need to be to be in the Olympics and blah blah blah. It's always been my dream to do this, but right now, I have a feeling the Aussies told her to get."
Well, I'll tell you, for somebody who's popping off about people, you know, in the WNBA and all of that, the second time I've ever heard the name of Liz Cambridge was after the first time that was due to the social media thing. So, you know, and I remember I wasn't very impressed the first time with the way she was talking a bunch of trash and being very race baity and trying to, you know, spin a certain narrative. I didn't have. You know, I had no reason to even really have respect for her in the first place. I respect pro athletes, but I went from just a non-feeling person about her to not really being a fan, and now I hear this, and it kind of just is, you know, going with the flow of kind of my impression of her so far. So, you know, I'm not making light of mental health, but she talks a big game. She was talking a whole lot a few months ago. And so you just, you know, you wonder, was that really talk that you meant, or was that some of your mental health struggles and you were lashing out at people and trying to blame them for things that, you know, whatever, like these people, she just seems like somebody who lives a lot of her life on social media.
Seems like somebody that wants to be a bully until something else comes back to her. I don't know what happened in the incident, but yeah, she's mental health.
Yeah.
We have discussed it so much on this show in the last 15, 16 months. We get it. All of us deal with it at some point or another. You, the audience, whoever, us at times. But it's getting to be now a little bit much where you almost, by everybody claiming it, it takes away from those who actually have it.
I agree. You know, I kind of said that a week or so ago. Is like, you know, and you talk about 15, 16 months talking about mental health. I'm talking about for years, you know, 3-4 years at the very minimum, because, you know, it's something that I really read a lot about and kind of realized, like, yeah, man, we don't really talk about too much. But I do feel like with pretty much everything else that happens in America or possibly the world, I can only really speak to here, but the pendulum doesn't even out or stay in the middle. It goes swinging wildly the other way. And so, yeah, now we got Naomi Osaka's dealing with mental health issues. She can't talk to the press anymore. Liz Cambridge, after bullying people online, now she's got mental health issues. She can't play. You know, and like, I'm not saying that their stories aren't authentic, but it's happening so often now that, yeah, it is starting to be turned into basically an excuse. I mean, it is. And, you know, if you want to argue that, fine. But we have never seen this many people cite that. And it's not just because it's open. It's because I do believe that it's now being used as a reason for bad behavior, or bad reactions, or just not feeling like you want to do something. So you're like, oh, mental health. I'm not going to play in the Olympics now. But, man, she was super confident and big bully on the block just a couple months back.
Oh, speaking of someone who had a bad week, Richard Sherman, not sure how many of you have kept up with that, but he was released without bail. I had TJ sent me, I got the audio. I take the audio off my laptop. TJ sent me the video of the front door alarm system, or someone was taking a video. He's obviously very messed up, drunk, whatever, maybe a few things, I don't know. But he's now claiming, he knows he screwed up, all right? I've always liked Richard Sherman. Not everybody has. I've always thought he's an incredibly cerebral guy, not just because he went to Stanford. I've actually listened to him on many topics as well. Hell of a player, Super Bowl champion. But he's in a bad spot. He's admitted that as well. But what the thing about the story of him trying to break into his wife's home is that, which you would think mean his home, his father-in-law sprayed him a little bit with mace. His wife has said publicly, we want to help him. So this is something that he's in a bad place. She's come out publicly and not defended him, but said they're trying to help him, that he's just in a really, really bad place. And so good luck to Richard Sherman.
Yeah, and, he cited his own mental health struggles. And clearly, when a situation like this happens, there's something going on. This isn't as simple as like, oh, I don't like this, and so I'm not playing anymore, or I'm having struggles and I'm not playing. I mean, this is real life. This is somebody who really clearly is having some mental health struggles or some problems, and so I don't take that lightly. He's not, I'm not going to be at training camp because I'm dealing with, this all of a sudden. But, yeah, he came out, and for anybody, and I don't know, I didn't see a lot of the reaction. I'm sure there was the usual crowd of, well, who really knows the facts, or, what the fact? Well, Richard Sherman shut it down. Yeah, he absolutely did what was said in that article, and he admitted to it, and so good on him for being a man and owning his own mistake, and also owning the fact that he needs to make some changes. Good for him.
Yeah, I agree. Here's a text from TJ. All the coaches that help you pushed you hard. I don't remember any coach that was quiet. The ones you made you played better, pushed you hard in practice, the weight room. My high school coach, position coach, is my next door neighbor. Thank God he was one of those coaches, because he constantly coaches up my 8-year-old now when he's even outside. And Raymond, I'll teach her about what mental health is. Being a broke Mexican all the time, watching her really go mental.
Hello, Raymond. It's been a long time, buddy.
Oh.
How you doing, pal?
I miss you, Raymond.
Raymond also had the best maybe tweet or text of the week. Coach Bennett should be in the NCAA committee. No joke, Raymond from Waco. Would that not be fun? There's a lot of people, oh my God, but they should listen to him. Coming up next, Grayson Grunhafer, our SicEm365 recruiting analyst, next on SicEm365 Radio.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed, smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. At a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. And a long-distance meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Payments for qualified buyer with 4,000 out at 2.9%. TTL extra CD for details.
The road is waiting. Explore America and save during the summer savings event at Richard Carr. Savings like a 2015 Nissan Altima for $159 a month, a 2015 Infiniti QX60 for only $243 a month, or a 2015 Ford F-150 for only $393 a month. At Richard Carr, 100% credit approval is always the goal. Log on or get here now and save in the summer savings event at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Grayson Grundhafer of SicEm365.com. Brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
All right, here we go. SicEm365 Radio. Grayson Grundhafer, our recruiting analyst, was at Big 12 Media Days with us yesterday, along with Colt. They dropped by and was able to listen in on Dave Aranda, Galvin, and also Terrell Bernard, among others. He joins us on SicEm365 Radio. Grayson, anything in particular that popped out at you?
I mean, there were a lot of things. I think the overall, idea of kind of Dave Aranda just taking that next step as a head coach and as a face of this Baylor football program, I think that was probably the biggest takeaway for me from yesterday. I just feel like there's a confidence about him, there's a composure about him, and there's clearly a drive that he has. And I think that getting to see that kind of on that stage at Big 12 Media Days was really, really encouraging. And hopefully Baylor fans were able to go listen to a lot of the content that we put up, and just also, just his press conference in general. I think there's clearly a change in him this year, and I think it has everything to do with confidence and everything to do with this isn't a COVID year, and it's not his first year being a head coach. So I was really, really impressed with what I heard from him, and obviously there were a lot of other takeaways from what he talked about, but I think just that cool, calm collectedness and also his confidence, I think were definitely the biggest things that stood out.
What did you think about what he said about the quarterbacks?
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I know I talked to Colt about this. I also talked to Craig about this. I felt like it was really good to hear him talk more so about the weaknesses than the positives. I think we all know kind of the things that these quarterbacks bring to the table. But I do believe that him talking about those little ways where they can improve are kind of the things that we've heard quite a bit. Now, I do believe at the end of the day, this is a 2-horse race between Gary Bohannon and Jacob Zeno. But I also think it's really good that Blake Shapen has continued to improve and that there are areas where he's excelled at, but also areas they need to improve upon. So, Yeah, and I think the things that he said about the quarterback specifically, Jacob Zeno improving his accuracy with the deep ball, I think that we actually saw that in the spring game. He had Tyquan Thornton open, missed him during the game. So I think that definitely makes a lot of sense. And obviously Gary Bohannon, it's just kind of the repetitions, it seems, with him, the ability to really understand the nuances of the offense and make those decisions quickly while also being able to go to your second and third options, being able to read options on the football field. That's key. And that's something that Zach Wilson did really, really well at BYU. And so that's an area that obviously Coach Aranda feels like he needs to work on. So I thought it was really good to hear that. I also think it means that this is still an open competition, and there's still going to be a ton of time where they're going to look at these quarterbacks and really evaluate them during fall camp. I know Dave Aranda mentioned in the breakout session that they would like to find their guy, as in they don't want to go into that Texas State game playing both guys, which I know a lot of people have kind of hinted at or talked about as a possibility. But it's clear he would much rather find that guy in fall camp. So we'll see if they're able to do it. It's going to be a really interesting race, I think, all the way up until the season begins.
So, Grayson, when you make a Twitter post or something, like sometimes the context and the way a person says something is not present. And so when he was talking about Gary and I typed out what I could, everybody saw like, oh, well, so he basically has to work on everything. The quick passing game, the drop back, making reads, getting the ball out on time. And several people were like, oh, so he's not good at anything. And it's like, no, he's good. Like, it wasn't as negative as it sounded in regards to Gary. Agreed?
Yeah, I very much so agree. I think that if you really read it, it's really more so, okay, Gary Bohannon's always been in a shotgun offense pretty much and has been in a spread offense. You go watch his high school tape, he's almost always in shotgun. So it makes sense that he has to get better dropping back in the pass game. I mean, that makes total sense. If you're ever going to put him under center at all, yeah, he's going to have to work on that. But I would also say I think that's something that all of these quarterbacks are probably going to have to work on. So, yeah, I wouldn't read too much into that. I think the quick rhythm passing game, I mean, I believe we've talked about this ad nauseum about Gary, that is something he's going to have to improve upon. But if you look at it kind of from a positive sense, it means that, hey, Gary's got a strong arm. Gary is doing things really, really well in the passing game. It's just a matter of getting into a rhythm and also being able to find those other options. So I think there's positives that go to it. Obviously, he's a great runner. So, I mean, that doesn't even have to be mentioned. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think that the quote, when you read it, can sometimes be a little, oh, man, there's so much he needs to work on. But then on the other hand, if you look at the things that weren't mentioned, I think there's positives when you look into that a little bit as well.
So do you think Chapin legitimately is a part of that competition as a starter?
I really don't. I know he's listed as an or, and I know it's been a running competition for since the spring, and obviously he didn't play baseball, so he wanted to focus on the quarterback competition. But I just don't see it at this time. I think that they're going to go with Gary or Jacob, and whoever wins the job, I think will be the right guy for the job. And whether that means that's the best quarterback, or whether that means that's the guy that moves the offense the best, or whether that means they need to do it based on the situation they have. I just think they're going to pick the best guy, but I do think it will be between Gary Bohannon and Jacob Zeno.
He was bullish on the DBs, Grayson, and with good reason. Is that the deepest position group in your mind?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, the question, because they talked about LSU as DBU when they kind of brought it up, at least in the press conference. But, yeah, he mentioned the defensive backs, and that stood out to me, to be honest, because I do think if you're going to look at a position where they need to see growth outside of the defensive line, where they just need guys to stay healthy, you want to see those defensive backs grow. And that's J.T. Woods, Christian Morgan, Kalen Barnes. You need to see them take another step if you really want to have an elite secondary. But I think it's also good because he mentioned a lot of the guys, the depth guys, throughout the day as well. Chateau Reed was the name that was mentioned during his breakout session. I also think there's just a confidence with what they have depth-wise that I don't think we've really gotten to see a whole lot of. I know we saw it a little bit in the spring game, but I think it's very interesting that he's so excited about that secondary, because I wouldn't necessarily say that is the biggest strength when you look at this roster, just kind of going through the depth pieces of it. So I thought that was a big positive for sure.
Any impressions of what Terrell Bernard was talking about throughout the day, or anything that you glossed off of Terrell Bernard? When we talked to him, he was clearly in a pretty good place, seems fired up for the season, was very complimentary of Aranda. What about on your end?
Yeah, I think he's another one who kind of instilled that confidence level. He's very confident in what they're going to do defensively. He talked about Dave Aranda, the relationship that they have, him being a big part of the reason they decided to come back to Baylor. I think he's healthy. He mentioned that a few times. He feels really healthy, ready to go for fall ball after not really doing a whole lot during the spring as far as physical contact. So now he's going to be ramping that up a bit come fall, and I'm excited to see what he does. I think based on what I heard and what I've seen from him, I think this could be a massive year for Terrell Bernard. I think he's got all the confidence in the world. I know Dave Aranda mentioned how, Terrell played really well last year, but he was just kind of going out there thinking. There was still a lot of thinking because he didn't really know the full defensive scheme still. And this goes for everyone on the defensive side, but he was able to make up for it just with his natural football instinct. But Aranda mentioned the fact that he thinks he's going to take a huge step in, kind of being able to read offenses and especially be able to play effective defense within the scheme. And I think if he's able to do that, he could take another just huge step forward. We've seen Dave Aranda do great things with linebackers in the past, and Terrell Bernard's a very talented one. And I think that just kind of confidence and his ability to be comfortable in this defense, even more so than last year, I mean, that's a scary sight, guys, because he was very, very effective when he was on the field a year ago.
I'm one of those that tries to believe in people, and I'm probably naive at times in ways when it comes to hoping somebody is going to be, example, the offensive line better. There's no reason for me to think that they will be other than the fact you have a new offensive line coach, an offensive coordinator who played it, and then, of course, there's more people on the line, including Jacob Gall, among others. I know there's a difference between talk and actually getting it done, but Grayson, convince me why, other than the fact that last year they weren't very good at all, that the offensive line is going to be better, because Connor Galvin, you could tell it kind of ruffled him a little bit when we talked about maybe getting sand kicked in his face.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you, just as far as convincing you, I do think the talent is better. And I think that's the first place I believe you need to start. When you talk about bringing in Jacob Gall, a guy who was a PFF All-American, a guy who played really, really well at Buffalo, I know that's a Group of 5 school, but I think he's going to bring another dimension to that center position. And Baylor really has struggled at the center position, in my opinion, for some time now. I know Tecklenburg played well at times, but even for him, I mean, it was a huge adjustment playing the center position. It took a lot of time. But I think Jacob Gall gives them a ton of confidence there and kind of leadership as well at the center position. So I think that position is going to take care of itself. I feel really good about Connor Galvin as well. I think that he's going to have a huge season. I predicted him to be a preseason All-Big 12 player as far as how I think he'll end up. And so, I mean, that's a huge compliment as well. So the other three positions, though, I think are up in the air. I do like the addition of Grant Miller, the Vanderbilt transfer. I think he could come in and play a substantial role. He brings talent as well. But the other two positions, I think, are going to be very interesting. I like the talent that Baylor has at tackle with Casey Phillips and Gavin Byers, but I don't think we've seen Casey really do it enough at the tackle position. I'm a little nervous to see, kind of what he can bring to the table, but I know injuries have plagued his career a little bit up to this point. So hopefully he's healthy and really making an impact as well. And as far as the other guard position, I think it's really encouraging that you have Giancarlo Valentin, a guy who has played football for a long time, a senior, a super senior, a guy who can, I think, really take that step to the next level and maybe compete, maybe get a starting job. Xavier Newman has played a ton of football. Can he take a step and fill in that other guard position, or will a guy like Mose Jeffrey be able to take over that role? I think the good news, though, Smokey, is the fact that these guys that I'm naming, I don't think are all just another guy. I think a lot of these guys really have a lot of talent and a lot of skill, and I think that Eric Mateos is going to get the best out of them. And so, yeah, up to this point, they really haven't shown a lot, but I think Mateos can take them to another level. And when you're an older guy, the ability to get better sometimes comes really quickly with a change in scheme or just a change in philosophy and coaching. And I think there's a chance that Eric Mateos could really instill that and do wonders for this group.
I get the impression talking to Mateos that he said it's not a talent issue, it's a getting it issue, or it's a commitment issue, or certain things that they just gotta understand. And for some, the clock is ticking. Grayson, we're going to give you a week off with recruiting information. Don't ever expect that to happen again. We'll give you a week off of discussing anything like that, but we expect at least a couple more news from you over the weekend or next week. Is there anything imminent at all, or it pretty much a dying kind of? Well, I know that Patton and a couple others might commit in the next week or two, right?
Yeah, July 31st is the date to circle. That's when Jeremy Patton and Derek Brown will be making their commitment decisions. Of course, that comes one day after Texas's pool party, which both of them will be at.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. But, yeah, that's the most imminent. I know there's still some guys that Baylor still has their eye on. Cedric Roberts and Calvin Dinkins both got Indiana offers this past week. I know Baylor's still kind of in the running there. We'll see what happens on that end. But, yeah, as far as imminent, I think those are kind of the four names to keep an eye on specifically at this time.
Would you disagree with me if I said I don't expect Brown or Patton to be Baylor?
I think that I truly think that it's a toss-up at this time. So if you wanted to tell me Texas, that's fine, but I do think Baylor is right there, especially for Patton. I think Patton is the one who I think Baylor, they've recruited him so long and so hard. I find it hard to believe that they're out of it currently. Derek Brown's a little bit different. I think that's going to be an interesting one all the way up until he makes a decision. But they're in it. They're absolutely in it for both.
That's just me off the cuff. No one's told me that. Thanks for your time. Grayson Grunhafer, Fridays at 3:45. He was in Arlington with us, along with so many others, SicEm365 and our recruiting analyst. When we come back, a couple of notes. The NFL has kind of released the numbers of how much each franchise received from the NFL national revenue, where it is from a year before, 2 years before. Daryl Williamson, Olympic gold medalist, former Baylor All-American, 400-meter in the relay. He'll join us at 4:15. This is SicEm365 Radio.
Allen Samuels is holding the Ram Spotlight event on the new 2021 Ram Lone Star Crew Cab trucks at Allen Samuels. The three-peat Motor Trend Truck of the Year is built to serve. This truck is perfect for whatever your lifestyle calls for. Impressive towing, high-strength steel frame, and the smoothest, most comfortable ride of any truck. Allen Samuels located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco. Come see the Ram Lone Star Crew Cab. The Ram Spotlight event won't last long. Visit Allen Samuels today or online at allensamuelsdcj.com.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com. Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com. Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Williams in motion, play action for Daniels. Backside pressure. Down he goes, back at the 39. The Bears got there.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Now, here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
4 o'clock hour, we'll hear from Olympian gold medalist Daryl Williamson here in a moment. The NFL is going to distribute $9.8 billion in national revenue from a year ago. Each team will get $309 million.
Yet they'll still have lost money from attendance and whatnot.
You would think a loss, a lot. Now, I went back and looked at, for example, the money they had the year before. This was an article in 2020 at this time. The NFL will split $9.5 billion with $296 million for each team. The year before, it was $274 million for each team. So it does continue to go up. It does continue to go up. Now, how the ticket sales and what they made, if anything, off of that, I don't know.
Well, it's good that they made more money so they could maybe make up for it, but
yeah, I mean, good for them for being filthy rich.
Yeah, that's kind of my. I think Craig and I have the same tone. Like, great,
yeah,
you made more money.
Good
you
for
realize
them.
We're talking about $9.4 or $5 or $8 billion.
Yeah, but TV deals. I mean, those TV deals are so high. Like they don't even have to have fans there. They're still going to make billions of dollars without fans. So this year, guess what? A year from now, you'll be talking about this huge jump, and they made $12 billion because everybody had fans back, and that's what it'll be. But I mean, they're never not going to be in the billions ever. They're just not. I mean, the league is too strong and has been too strong for too long now, and that's not surprising that. They cleaned up as always.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, and they just continue to be a
salary
cash cow.
cap will go up, and they'll have bigger contracts potentially, and it'll work its way through. But the NFL is certainly a cash cow.
Just a ton of money, just an absolute ton of money. 9.5 or 8, whatever billion amount of dollars. Here's a report. You see this? That 2 NFL teams remain under 50% vaccinated. Washington and Indianapolis.
I wonder what the cause of that is in particular with those two teams.
I saw the Redskins, the Washington football team defensive end, is it Montez Sweat?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He said I believe it was him. He said he's not a believer in it or doesn't know enough about it. And hey, I felt the same way until last Wednesday, and I'm still not so sure I've changed my mind, but I did it. And so
you didn't have to wear a mask at Big 12 Media Days all day long, although I don't think anybody really had to, honestly.
You know, some of the most, and don't get this wrong when I say this, but some of the whiniest columnists that I saw there, I mean, the ones that find something wrong with anything. Oklahoma beats Iowa State for the Big 12 championship, and then there's something, they were wearing them. There was 2 or 3 of them that, like, find a way to be mad at the world, and they were both, 2 or 3 of them were wearing it. And there was one broadcaster, a friend of mine, I didn't understand it, but he had a huge mask. I mean, it was like a pit bull mask, like something you put on a jaw of a dog, what would you call it, a Hannibal Lecter. But then when he walked straight up to me, I mean, he was right here in my face saying hi. What did that do?
I don't know.
Everyone has their own way. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think that a lot of it's become theater at this point. I don't think early on it was, but now with vaccination. But again, I think it's really unfortunate that we are at a point with our the flow of information where something like a vaccine has become so politicized and so, it depends on, and the thing is, it's across the political spectrum. You know, it depends on how you feel about something. I think it's very funny that there's a ton of Republicans, including former President Trump, who have kind of pushed this vaccine hesitancy, yet he's taking credit for a lot of other stuff. It was his policy that got the, Operation Warp Speed worked. Like, we had something that worked, and we're not taking credit for what worked.
But no one wants to give him credit for anything, and nobody wants to give Biden credit for anything. It's because we're so polarized. Yeah. It doesn't matter if something like somebody saved somebody in a burning building would figure out whether he's a red state or a blue state.
No, somebody would say, well, I don't know. I think that guy might have done that on purpose to get rescued from the building. That's how nuts people have gotten.
And then you have people who have historical concerns about trusting anything from the government, and I mean that's somewhat understandable, but I think if you look at everything, if you look at the people who are telling you to take the vaccine, they know about vaccines. The people who are telling you not to take the vaccine are Jenny McCarthy and Cole Beasley.
Yeah, basically.
Doctors are saying take the vaccine. A girl who was on Singled Out and in Playboy in the 90s, and a wide receiver who is admittedly crazy.
I mean, she's lived life. She knows what she's talking about.
She's anti-every vax, though.
Yeah,
she's anti-every shot.
Like polio and anything.
People would be getting polio if Jenny McCarthy had her way because, one person.
That was always a neat little sugar cube.
Just so one person doesn't have a side effect. And that's the thing, too, is we're propping up well, there's one person that had this thing. Well, then, okay, because that one person had a thing. Millions shouldn't get vaccinated that have had no problem with it. I mean, the whole thing, like you said, is political theater. I believe in our politicians for the most part. I do think it's reached a level of self-interest like never seen before and tribalism never seen before. I am not a member of either tribe, and I never will be. I just, I go with who I think's the best at the time. But it has gotten just insane, and people just love being on teams, I think. I think people just love to be on teams with whatever it is, and it's my team versus your team, and it's like we're all Americans at the end of the day, and y'all are all busy arguing over Cowboys, Redskins, but instead it's just Republicans and Democrats, and it's the biggest, dumbest waste of time ever.
Yeah, it is. The 2 highest or 3 highest vaccinated teams in the 85 percentile, Pittsburgh, Miami, 4, Pittsburgh, Miami, Carolina, and
I bet
Denver.
you, considering that Miami's been the epicenter for this in a lot of the southern part of the United States, if you're a Dolphins player, get your shot.
Yeah, they're pretty busy.
From TJ, I'm not touching this topic, fellas. Imagine listening to celebrities anyway. Good God, have a thought for yourself. I don't listen to celebrities. I pretty much have just turned all of them off. I do.
I just don't understand, hey, Jenny McCarthy, I saw her topless in 1994 in a magazine. I wonder what she thinks about medicine.
Yeah, but I know, but there's a lot of people in Hollywood that think because they're in Hollywood, because they have that they can say anything about a lot of things.
They're not normal. They're in Hollywood.
And they're the ones who are more isolated than anybody.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about Hollywood people. They are the fakest for the most part, most delusional, self-invested people in the entire world. They've been put on such a plateau. I was thinking about this yesterday, just all the entertainment we have in this country. We're so blinded by it sometimes. But, yeah, I mean, I've never cared about what the celebrities never, led to me making a decision on a vaccine or anything that's, personal like that. But for some people, maybe they need that nudge from somebody who's popular. I don't know. I don't understand any of it, really.
All right, when we come back, Daryl Williamson won a gold medal in 2004. He won gold medals in the World Championships as well and the World Junior Championships, and, of course, was a great track and field star at Baylor. Daryl Williamson is next on SicEm365 Radio. Waco Custom Marketplace, your hometown grocery store, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco. And a place that is open until 6 o'clock tonight for you to go by if you want and find out what you want to grill this weekend or put in the oven or perhaps even do some kind of a deep fry. Although deep fry at this time of the year, God, it's already hot enough. But if that's what you want to do, or a shrimp boil, you could still do that. Waco Custom Marketplace is who I call and contact when I want specific cut, my style cut ribeye steaks, bone in or not, or bacon wrap fillets, or really pretty much any kind of protein, also including chicken, pork, and seafood as well. Waco Custom Marketplace is your hometown grocery store with up and down. There's like 3 or 4 aisles that are filled from things like Ritz crackers to box dinners to Rotel tomatoes to pasta. Bread, much more. And then the bakery that bakes fresh baked bread and kolaches every single day. It's Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Three Nations Brewing Company has 16 different beers on draft with a new beer every Friday. It also offers 2 air-conditioned tap rooms, a large indoor beer hall, a second-floor mezzanine offering a great overview of the brewing company and equipment and patio where you can relax under the shade. Plus, you can now experience the new Three Nations Beer Garden Grill on our shaded patio with socially distanced seating for your enjoyment. Grab a cold beer and enjoy a bite from our freshly prepared and delicious menu. Street tacos, quesadillas, freshly cooked burgers and dogs, and veggie burgers too. State Fair tornado fries, nachos, and so much more, all prepared and cooked on site. So come visit the award-winning Three Nations Brewing Company on East Vandergrift off I-35 in Carrollton.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness was built to help give you a chance to enjoy elite tennis facilities and also remain fit or reshape your body. Now Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has gone through its own physical changes. There are 7 large flat screens stretched across the main and improved weight room with Wi-Fi available and their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports channels. The beautiful sound of active treadmills and elliptical machines, group exercise classes throughout each day, a new ballet bar for bar classes, a new look lounge and bar with beer and wine with more large flat screens available. Touchless water fountains outside each spacious men's and women's locker rooms, showers, sauna, and whirlpool. Upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts and lessons for adults and juniors. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Also, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. So start today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel? Do it today by searching SicEm365 on YouTube.
All right, this 4 o'clock hour. Rolling along, we're going to take yesterday's interview with Dave Aranda, the one-on-one or one-on-three with us, 3-on-1 with us, and have that today in the 5 o'clock hour. Paul's top 5 today will come, of course, near the end of the show. Today we have in the studio Hayden Bumpus, Jack McKenzie. Earlier today, Marquise dropped by for his time, but he's gone, and we appreciate seeing him earlier today as well. Daryl Williamson, former Baylor All-American, gold medalist in the 2004 games in Athens, joins us. Paul Catalina, David and Craig Smoak, SicEm365 Radio. Hey, Daryl, thanks for, being a part of the show. Appreciate your opportunity to kind of share some insight from your experiences. When the Olympic Games, and this has been different because it's been 5 years, when they roll along every 4 years, do you kind of perk up a little bit? Is that the case with you?
Well, first of all, guys, thanks for having me. Yeah, so like every 4 years, you say put up? I don't know if I put up, but, I get more attention, right? Every 4 years, you get more attention. More people ask questions. You get a lot of calls. People want to do a few events and things like that. But that definitely happens every 4 years.
You're for that 4x4 in 2004. I was watching some of the highlights today. Were you guys as confident a group that you could possibly ever imagine, especially given how you won that particular race?
Yeah, absolutely. I tell people all the time, my first 3 legs swept the 400 meters. And then all I had to do was run the last leg, and I was pretty confident in that. I'd done it all year. So, yeah, it's about as confident as we could be going into any 4x4 final at any Olympic Games.
Did it make it even more special to have a teammate from Baylor as a part of that?
Absolutely. Throughout my career, having Jeremy around, Olympic Games, World Championships, things like that, it always made those events even more special.
He said the same thing about you and others. We had him on Monday. It's been a big kind of a stretch for Baylor track. Daryl, your thoughts about Michael Ford, the new head coach?
Hey, I'm so excited for Michael Ford. I think I was his first recruit at Baylor, so I've kind of watched this thing come full circle. I think Coach Hart brought him in right before I got recruited there, and he recruited me, and it's just been amazing to watch that journey come full circle. He's very well deserving of it, and I'm excited for what Baylor track and field has in store with Michael Ford at the helm.
That's pretty lofty that your first recruit's an Olympic gold medalist. I mean, after that, you set the bar pretty high.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at the kind of institution, he's coaching that. We have a lot of talent come through there, and he's been in a nice position.
They've had, and Baylor, we're talking about that, and you're a part of that history, that great success in the 400 meters, the relay, and all that. Was that what got you there, the history of what you'd seen, Michael Johnson, whatever, or was there something else as well along the way?
No, absolutely. The history there, Michael there. And honestly, like a lot of the guys that were there running when I got recruited, Brandon Couch, Zolt Seglet, Floyd Thompson, Bayana Kamani, like these guys were there running when I got recruited. So, they were doing well. I was excited about it. I'm a 400-meter runner, the history, the legacy there. And then the older legends, right? You know, like Deion Miners and, you know, Mike Forrest and stuff, Tony Millers and those guys, Michael, obviously, Remy Pierre. So, yeah, it's just so much tradition there. Coach Hart was still coaching there, and it was a no-brainer for myself. Obviously, the proximity to San Antonio helped as well.
You know, Will London is going to join us. He's been on the show a handful of times, and he's now on that Olympic team, and he's in what they call that pool. And you were a part of that too. And eventually they got it right with you being a part of the 4x400 with Jeremy and all that. What suggestion, because Will just won a 400 about a week ago Friday. He's going to join us on Monday. What suggestions would you have for him?
Just to continue to train, continue to stay ready, be prepared to run if they call you to run. And just enjoy the games, enjoy the events. And the experience in itself is something to look forward to.
Just as
be prepared.
Just as an experience outside of the actual events itself, what's it like to be in the Olympic Village and seeing people from all over the world and mingling and doing all of that? What was that experience like for you?
That's one of the most unique experiences of the games itself. And honestly, looking back on it now, you know, almost 20 years later, it's more unique when I think about the situation I was in. You know what I mean? So I tell people, you know, if you're going to the Olympics now, just take advantage of that. Look at it, everything, soak it all in. The different countries, the different backgrounds and cultures. It's amazing to be a part of.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what's it like to be on the podium when they're playing the national anthem with a gold medal around your neck?
Sure, yeah, not special. It really is special. I mean, you represent a nation. There's so many people watching, and your understanding of that before you even, you know, compete, and obviously before you're on the podium. So it's special, you know, to hear the anthem, and, you know, just to know that there are so many people that support you, you know, back home in Washington.
How fast could you run the 400 a day?
Oh, not very. I don't run. I don't do too much running. That's funny. I don't know. Really, really slow.
Well, Jeremy,
I'm heavier and slower, and I'm not too active. Jeremy's coaching, at least. Jeremy's around athletes every day.
But he said the same thing, that like if he had to, in a couple weeks, he could break 50, he says. Maybe.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he'd have to do it. But he's, you know, kind of like you. Like, look, you're done. You know, you're done. Nobody's chasing you anymore, trying to beat you in a race. So he's just enjoying it.
Yeah. I absolutely could not break 50 in a few weeks.
Well, heck, that would be hard.
Yeah. But like I say, Jeremy's around athletes. He's coaching. He probably runs around with the kids.
Yep.
And I have a real estate company, and we do more things around houses and stuff. So, yeah, not doing too much running.
Yeah, got more of that upper body strength. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I read a story, and I can't remember where this story was, but, you know, things weren't easy for you and your brothers growing up. You had to kind of be, you know, very patient in life and grow through life. And I know that you guys were a part of a foster care program in San Antonio.
Sure.
What was, I mean, Daryl, you look back at that, I mean, obviously things worked out. I mean, is that something that you just thank the Lord all of that worked out when it did?
Yeah, well, you know, my path kind of, you know, molded me into who I am. It kind of defines my character. And, you know, it's made me stronger. I wouldn't change it. You know, it's unfortunate that I had to go through those things, but it made me a strong man. I'm a great father because of the absence in my own life. And I just, you know, thought my family is really special to me. I work hard for my family. I try to be a great husband. So, you know, all of these things that I didn't have growing up, they taught me a lot. They taught me to provide those things for my family. So, yeah, I took advantage of what I had, and didn't focus on what I didn't, and I think that's what I was able to, you know, become who I am.
Well, and the good news, your grandmother, right? She was eventually the one that helped. She was obviously influential in your life, but she was the one that was able to raise you during your most impressionable years.
Sure, yeah, no, absolutely. She was amazing. Mother, man, grandmother, father, she was amazing. Everything. She did everything for me, provided everything, and I'm forever indebted to her. I take care of her. Because of that, she's special to me.
Daryl, do you have 3 girls?
I have 3 girls and 1 son.
3 girls and 1 son. What's it like being a dad to 4 kiddos?
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. They keep me busy. I do a little running around when it comes to them, right? Taking them around and keeping up with them. But it's amazing. It's the most special thing about my life so far is being a father. So, yeah, it's absolutely amazing.
Did you ever finish that book or memoir that you were going to write?
I have not finished it. I have not finished it. Everything in life has been more important. From having a son to being shut down with COVID to starting my company. So something I want to do, but and I have a lot of it actually written. It's just not finished.
Well,
but,
and that means it's not ready. You get to it when you get to it, right? You kind of nip and tuck, nibble on it a little bit every once in a while. When it's ready, it's ready.
Well, yeah. And I don't want it to continue to grow. There's a lot more happening now.
Absolutely.
So I got to close that book and open and open another soon. So I got to hurry up and get with that.
So what's it like for someone like yourself who's known for wanting and running fast to then have to slow down a little bit?
Yeah, no, I enjoy my life so much now that it's an easy transition. I know a lot of people probably struggle with moving out from being an athlete to what am I going to do next. But being an athlete, it took so much from you, right? You had to dedicate so much time and so much of yourself. And just now that I'm able to take the time that I was spending that, and now I'm using that time, spending that with my family, with my kids, with my wife, growing my own business. All of those things make it really pretty easy.
So, Darold, in the past, there's kind of been like this split between Olympic athletes and college athletes because of like the rules and whatnot. So a lot of Olympians will leave college and go that Olympic route. But I was just curious, what are your thoughts on the changing landscape of college athletics and name, image, likeness, and how much do you think that guys like yourself or Jeremy Warner or whoever would have been able to potentially benefit from that? What do you think of that opportunity now for college athletes?
I think it's fair. I think it's fair for the athletes. Universities benefit so much from athletes. I mean, I know we come through universities and we gain degrees and education and scholarships and whatnot, but in the same respect, athletes do, bring in a lot for universities. So I think they're deserving. I think it's fair. I'm not sure how things are going to be moving forward. I'm interested to see how things will be. I hope it doesn't get out of hand, but at the same respect, I think it's nice that athletes do have an opportunity to capitalize off their image, because I mean, it is their image. You know what I mean? So. Yeah. We'll see what happens. Do I think we would have benefited? Yeah, a little bit. But we're track athletes, so professional track athletes don't get too much marketing. So it's not. I don't know how much college athletes will get, but so we'll see. But yeah, definitely for other sports, I think it'll be huge. Basketball players, like football players and whatnot.
Daryl Williamson, 2004 Olympic gold medalist, won gold throughout most of his life when he comes to track and field, of course, from All-American at Baylor as well. What are your thoughts about Trayvon Bromell? It looks like he has come all the way back, Daryl, and he is right at that elite cusp of maybe the favorite in the 100 meters.
No, absolutely. Hey, listen, I have been locked in and really excited to see Trayvon come back, and he's running strong. He looks great. More importantly, I'm just excited to see where he's at mentally. He's healthy. And I think those are the most important things. So it's just good to see him doing well. I'm happy for it.
How much did your wife, being an All-American, LaWanna also being an All-American track athlete, help both of you through the transition of competing? Not that you don't compete right now, as you mentioned, with Olympic homes and then also as parents, but how much did that help to maybe get through the transition to a different chapter in your life?
She helped a lot. She helped just because she was already in, the professional world, and just kind of directed me on what to expect. When I first retired, I got into like medical sales and things like that. I was like, hey, I'm a retired athlete. I want to make a lot of money still. So, I kind of got into like medical sales and things like that. And she kind of directed me in that way because she was already in the field of sales. But, yeah, she also helped me get right out of it because it wasn't my thing. So that's why I'm a business owner now. So, but she definitely made the transition well. She understood it already, being a former athlete, being in that field. So I'm lucky to have her. I'm
curious about this, and I'm not you guys are at Olympic Homes, and I'm looking at the homepage, OlympicHomesSGA.com, and your story. Yes. What were you? Is that your business that you guys opened it? Were you surprised that name was available and it was not a trademark somewhere?
Yeah, well, it was available. There were some other ones that were taken, but I mean, it was available. They approved it, and yeah, I have it right now. So unless I hear anything else,
no, it's great.
But it's amazing. I'm glad we have that name. We had, for the domain, we had to throw the GA at the Olympic Home.
Right.
The GA, but no, I'm glad we have that. I'm glad we have that name there, and it rings a bell. People always want to know why, and then there you go.
Yeah, there absolutely. And I guess to wrap it up, Daryl, with this, and thanks for your time and being so accommodating for us this week. When you crossed that line and you knew that you guys had won the gold medal by 5 seconds or so over Australia, can you try to describe, we've asked you about winning it, all that. Can you kind of describe that moment of all of what you did to train for that moment? The wins or the losses, the setbacks or whatever, what that meant?
Yeah, it was surreal. It was so special. As a track and field athlete, that is absolutely what you run for. It's the best you can get, right? Olympic gold medalist, and to achieve that, it was amazing. But then again, I really wasn't surprised. So these guys ran so well. I expected us to do well, and really crossing the line in 2004, it was more of excitement, of hard work paid off, really.
Have you been in touch with Michael about the job?
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as I heard, I had to reach out to him, let him know how happy I was for him. But then again, when I heard Coach Harper was retiring or retired or what have you, I immediately reached out to Mike Ford, just because I would expect him to either be first in line or definitely the top candidate. So
yep.
I reached out to him, but at that time he didn't know anything. So I kind of just had to wait around like everybody else.
It was pretty impressive when that news came down. We were in the middle of talking to Mac Rhodes, the AD at Baylor, and it comes out, and then you see all of the names of the great past of Baylor track and field thrilled. You obviously, and even the younger, Will London or Trayvon, among others, all the way back to the greats as well that you ran with as well. So that was cool.
This is huge. I think this is huge for the program, the culture of the program, the family. I mean, he's a Baylor Bear himself, and he has kind of been there as Baylor, just watching it grow over the last 20 years that he's been there. There wasn't a better person for the job. So glad he got it.
Daryl, thank you. Appreciate you so much for representing what you did with Baylor, but the United States, and also good luck with your professional life and also with those kids, man. Enjoy it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Take care. You guys have a good one.
Daryl Williamson, 2004 Olympic Games in Athens, along with Jeremy Warner. They ran that third and fourth leg. As he said, he goes, pretty easy for me when the first three already won their race, and then he goes off and caps it off as well. I was asked this question. I don't know this because I'm not a Baylor historian, although learned it the last 10, 11 years. I don't know. Was Michael Ford the first black head coach in Baylor athletics?
Period? Very well may be. I don't know enough of the history off the top of my head either.
That's the case. Somebody asked me that question, and I never really thought much about it because I don't look at it that way. That's never been something I've looked at, but that could be interesting.
I'm racking my brain. Yeah. The thing about Baylor is they get coaches that are so. I mean, for the most part, look at that his particular sport. I mean, he's the third coach in the last 50 years.
Oh, I know. They've had longevity, 20 years, 18 years, all that, yeah.
So it's
Grant Tapp was there for a long, long time, right?
Well, look at the other programs. Glenmore's been around for a really long time. Baseball shifted over, but football's obviously...
But Steve Smith was there for 20 years before it happened. Kim Mulkey was there for 18 years.
Yes.
Scott Drew's been here for, for 18, all that, or Kim, all that time. So, it's...
That was just something that was asked, and there's somebody along the way. I didn't know if there was a men's basketball coach or somebody. To me, it's great. If true, that's fantastic. If not, then that's okay too. It's fine with me.
Yeah, no, that's great either way. And I hadn't thought about that. So thanks for pointing that out because that is of interest and notable for sure. So,
how about Michael Ford recruiting him? No, I'm sorry, Harry Miller, men's basketball.
Okay.
Thank you, David.
There you go.
David Anderson, thank you. Harry Miller was the first black head coach at Baylor, Harry Miller, back in the day. The other note about what Daryl Williamson said, Michael Ford,
But track coach-wise, it'd be the first black head coach.
But David, thank you for that. But Daryl Williamson, that Michael Ford, he was his first recruit back, eventually won a gold medal.
From the Waco Trib. He's the fourth head coach in the modern era of the track and field program. Third black coach in Baylor's athletic history. Harry Miller, okay.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. And then LaPrice Harris Williams, who was acrobatics and tumbling from 2011 to 2014.
Before the dynasty showed up.
Yeah, yes. And then Mulkey came sweeping through, and she's just cleaned up since then.
All right, thank you, David. Thank you to all the others who chimed in, and I mean that in a very positive way. All right, when we come back, more to come. 440, SicEm365 Radio. Ideal MRI, idealmri.com. Rob Maxey, Dr. Maxey, what a job, what an amazing place he, Al, and the partners have put together in the Central Texas Marketplace in Waco, just on the south part of Waco, on the Access Road, Loop 340 and Highway 6. Ideal MRI can help you save hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars. How? $497 or less for an MRI. And you may not need one, but if you do, you're going to know how much they can cost because they, on average, are $1,100. And I've even paid an MRI one time that was close to $2,000, and I had great insurance. But that's the way it can be sometimes. So how about $497 or less? And even that MRI that I had was for something that really I never had to get fixed. Not like the rotator cuff. It's not like something else that I've had, a torn bicep or maybe a pain in my knee. But Ideal MRI can help you find out the evidence, find out specifically why something hurts, a muscle, ligament, some kind of pain inside your body that is shutting you down, keeping you from functioning, maybe not even be able to walk or sleep or whatever else. So when your doctor says, hey, we need to get an MRI, you tell him or her, idealmri.com.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more. Rediscover the thrill of driving with power and exceptional handling and control in a new 2021 Cadillac from Richard Car Cadillac. Whether you drive the dynamic 2021 CT4 or CT5 sedan or the sporty and spacious XT4, XT5, or XT6 lineup of SUVs, starting at only $32,900, the Cadillac of your dreams is waiting now to make your 2021 an exceptional year at an affordable price. Test drive from the expansive selection at Richard Car Cadillac or let us bring a test drive to you. Go to richardcarcadillac.com to schedule a test drive today.
Don's Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don's Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Three Nations Brewing Company is a recognized award-winning brewery that has been recognized for being a community leader, a successful business, and most of all for brewing great beer. Three Nations offers the community something fun all throughout the week. Wednesday night bingo, Thursday trivia, New Beer Friday promotes fresh beer from their small batch system and live music every Saturday night. There are regular celebrations such as St. Patrick's Day, Switchyard, Cinco de Mayo, July 4th, new beer launches, dog rescues, annual anniversary events, and Oktoberfest parties. Three Nations is a dog-friendly and family-friendly brewery. Don't miss out on the fun. So come visit Three Nations Brewing Company on East Vandergrift off I-35 in Carrollton.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. This Open Championship update is brought to you by Cottonwood Creek Golf Course with the same great layout. It's time to lower your handicap. Play golf at Cottonwood Creek with a staff and facilities ready to host your grouper tournament. Call the Pro Shop at 254-745-6009. Cottonwood Creek on Bagby Avenue next to Waco ISD Stadium.
Louis Oosthuizen leads the Open Championship by a couple of strokes over Colin Morikawa. And what's interesting about Louis Oosthuizen, he has a major championship. He's finished second at the Masters, twice second at the PGA Championship, and he's also finished twice second at the U.S. Open, including recently. And now he's a couple of strokes, the lowest, I think, midpoint number under par in British Open or Open history, and now joined by PGA Tour columnist and Baylor alum Art Strickland on SicEm365 Radio. He's putting up, wasn't it Nicklaus who had 18 majors but like 19 or 30 runner-up as well? Isn't that right, Art?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And people never talk about that. But, and I think at the British Open in 30 years, just finished out the top five maybe one time out of 30 years. I mean, really incredible. But, just like, in tennis, you always hear the word the guy's a craft specialist. He's a clay court specialist. Well, the same is true for links golf. You've got guys who are really good at links golf, and they're at the top. They're going to win. That's why you see, Oosthuizen is obviously leading right now, and you've got, Jordan Spieth right there. British Open winner. Colin Morikawa, who hits it like Ben Hogan, everyone says. And Ben Hogan, by the way, he won the British Open. So really, the specialists are out there, guys that have had success or the game is suited for success. And so I don't see the leaderboard shifting a whole lot. I think that you're going to have those guys near the top in the next 36 holes.
What do you make of Bryson DeChambeau's outburst at Cobra, who makes his driver yesterday?
Well, I thought that the equipment rep had it pretty right. And good for him for speaking the obvious. He said that was a childish, immature reaction by a childish, immature player. And that pretty much sums up Bryson. He's a talented dude, but he's very immature, very childish. And, to bite the hand that feeds you to about $8 million a year in the smartest thing he's ever done. And, obviously his agent said, hey, you can't do that. You need to apologize. So he apologized, whatever statement his agent wrote for him. But, it's a bad look for Bryson, but, he seems to specialize in bad looks. So, who knows? Maybe that's a new training, or maybe it's just the Bryson training. But bad look for him, and certainly didn't expect anything from him this week, but didn't expect a meltdown from him either.
He pulled out a 4-iron today. Did you see this on the first tee box? Because he had mentioned the driver, so he did show a little bit of a humorous side to him. Barely, I think, got it into the fairway. But, he's right there on the cut line. He made the cut line as well. So Jordan Spieth, he's right there. I want to say this, he's third. He's 3 back of Oosthuizen. But when I watched at least his first 8 to 10 holes before I had to leave, I thought maybe he should have shot like a 62 or 3. He was close all throughout the day.
Yeah, well, he birdied the first 2 holes, and I think he birdied maybe 5 of the first 7, something like that. I mean, he's on fire, and he wasn't able to continue it. But, but I think he's into the weekend. Certainly, he's won an Open. He certainly knows how to excel and make it. And the key for Jordan Spieth is, he's had 8 top 5 finishes since the fall. 8 since the fall. And, he's good to go. He's back in championship form, and wouldn't surprise me at all to see him contend and hold up another player day.
Is this playing the links course just what Dustin Johnson needed to break out of his 2 major funk that he's been in?
He's pretty good. Links up another guy that's played pretty good, who hasn't played much good anywhere else, is Ricky Fowler. He's kind of hanging around there. So, I think that guys have an affinity for links golfing, and it's an affinity. And, I think that most people don't realize that Bobby Jones, who we rightly consider one of the greatest players of all time, quit in the middle of his very first round at St. Andrews, walked off on the 13th hole because he said, "This is a stupid course and a stupid layout. I'm not going to play it." And so he came back, obviously, and won the Open at St. Andrews. It was revered as one of the great links player ever. So it's an acquired taste. It really is. But the guys who have acquired it do really well.
The Koepka thing, Paul, did you see what Koepka did?
Yeah, he loves his driver.
He loves his driver, driving into the weekend. That's not, but he has kind of just, he's at 5 under. He's not out of it. He'd have to go pretty low the next couple of days, but so he's at 5 under par. Who, anyone in particular? Like, I was surprised that Cantley, Patrick Reed, neither one of them make the cut. Anyone in particular kind of surprised you that they aren't a part of the mix?
Well, Patrick, I mean, I'd hate to say anything about Phil. That surprises me because it really doesn't.
Yeah.
But, the fact that Phil did not, already shoot 81 yesterday, and I think he shot 71 today. So that didn't, it shocked me. But, Phil won a British Open, about 5 years ago. Did a second about 3 years ago. So I expected a little bit more from Phil, but, I'm giving up saying I'm surprised by him because, winning the PGA at Key Island this year, I'd put that on a series of surprises.
The pressure of when you win a major, and then let's say there's guys that have never won. We know that. They're the oldest or most successful, whatever. Then they come through. Mickelson had to deal with that until 2004. When John Rahm won the U.S. Open in a spectacular fashion, does that make him more dangerous, or is there a burden now because the expectations are with him?
No, Smith, I don't really think there's an expectation. I mean, he's done so much in his career, and, I think that, to win the British Open when no one thought that was possible, everyone talks about the 6 runner-ups at the U.S. Open, the only thing keeping him from the career. So, here's a guy that I really think, and I like a lot of what Brandon Sherman says, because he backs it up with facts. And a guy that I would really think the warning light is on their career is Rory McIlroy. I mean, here's a guy who grew up in Northern Ireland, played rink golf and things, and, Brandon said, Rory is in the sweet spot of his career. He's in the prime of his career right now. And the fact that he is nowhere near competing in major championships, and it's gone to 8 years without a major, boy, that would really concern me if I'm a player of Rory's caliber. Because, and Rory knows this as good as anyone. Winning Charlotte like he did earlier this year, or winning, wherever, Quad Cities, or it's great, wonderful, and good for you. But winning the majors is what stamps you as a legendary player. And the fact that he has gone to 8 years, a man that talent, not win a major, well, I tell you what, the warning lights blinking on Rory's career.
Well, and one of the things about his stretch, and Oosthuizen won his major back in 2010, the Open Championship, so it's been over a decade. But the thing about Rory is he hasn't had any setbacks like when Tiger had his lengthy 2008 until 2019, that 11-year stretch. It's just he hasn't been able to get it done.
Well, and been able to get it done in the majors, and that's what's really perplexing, because, here's a guy that, boy, has got a world of talent, and here's another great step from Justin Ray, who's a Texas guy, and he works for ESPN now. Rory McIlroy won the first 2 majors of his career by 8 shots. He won the U.S. Open by 8 shots. He won the PGA by 8 shots. The last guy to win his first 2 majors by 8 shots is nobody. No one's ever won their first 2 majors by 8 shots or more. And so the fact he won his first 2 majors by 8 shots, and now where he is today, well, that is really in head shape. It really is. And I feel sorry for him, but I just think a guy with that much talent got to figure it out. But, you say that about a lot of guys. I mean, you say that about guys that burst on the scene and, going back, Smokey, you're an Isaac, Johnny Miller, who was just lights out for 3 years. And then after that 3 years, that was it. He won a few more times, but, shooting 63 at Oakland, all the great things Johnny did was over after 3 years. So, really perplexing about Rory and the fact he's not a factor. And, people always say, he can shoot 62, and why he can shoot 62. Well, that's possible. But the fact that there's no evidence of that, no pre-testing, really is baffling to me.
All right, Art. Enjoy the weekend. Thank you so much, Art Strickland. Art, give your travel, journey, golf course, destiny, dream. Oh, he's gone. No. Paul, did you hang up on him?
No, I did not. That was not me.
Never mind, Art.
Yeah. Artofgolftravel.com.
Is it?
Artofgolftravel.com.
Okay, good. Yeah, and he's taking a group to, I think, Torrey Pines in a week or 2.
Yeah, I actually ran into Art on the 4th of July at the Baylor Club, and he said he was really excited about that. Going to Torrey Pines.
All right, Craig.
Glad to be alive in the tournament still. We'll see how it goes the rest of the weekend. But I thought this might, because I know we're going to have some stuff coming up, this might be a good time to mention who you just pulled up there. I got it on my screen. I know you've kind of teased it a little bit, but Baylor's losing a really good dude in the sports information department. And go ahead. I mean, you've been...
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, well...
I teased it, but we even asked Phil Bennett about it when he was talking about Taylor Young, but go ahead.
It hasn't been, officially announced until earlier today, but Taylor Bryan, who has been sports information director, working side by side with football since Matt Rule arrived. He came over when Matt Rule was hired and then stayed along when Dave Aranda took over last year. He's announced that he is headed to North Texas as the new senior associate AD for strategic communications. And he put out a little tweet earlier today. He said, can't say thank you enough to Baylor Athletics for all they have done for Claire, his wife, and me over the last 4 years, but especially B. Mac Rhodes, Jeremiah Dickey, and Javon Overshone as well. We can't wait to get to Denton and get started. And then he did the Sic'em, Go Mean Green hashtags. And I think, you all will obviously have something to say, but I think I can speak for us all. And even the, Brian, Ashley, Colt, all those guys as well. Taylor Bryan's as good as it gets and was so immensely helpful to us the last few years and so willing to work with each other and make things happen, knowing that it was going to be, it's for the brand, it's for Baylor, what a lot of people are trying to do and making it happen. And he's good as gold in my book, and I really appreciate his help. I appreciate him, just give me a little nod here and there, voting for the Big 12 team or players of the week kind of thing. I was able to do that a couple times because of Taylor, and just great dude, and wish him the best.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Taylor knows that the best way to be successful at your job is not to say no unless you have to. It's just to say it's not no, but how. How can we make this happen? What's and so I don't think we ever heard a solid no from him when we asked for something. It was, well, not right now. Not today, but let's see. Let's work on it. And that's how you build productive relationships. And I think that Taylor, as he moves forward in his professional career in college athletics, that mentality will serve him well. And he was very willing to immerse himself in everything. And he also, sometimes you get this where, and it hasn't happened at Baylor. We've been pretty lucky, but there's some places you go and you can tell that they don't really immerse themselves in the local media at all. They're just they're just there to take requests and say yes or no. And that's not Taylor at all. Taylor knows everybody, knows what everybody's strengths are. He'll think about, this would be a good story. I found this story, who's a good person to tell this story. They'd be good at this and all that. Just all these different things that he does. And he and Claire are great. They're going to do great at North Texas. They're going to do great wherever they go.
Yeah, I remember the day I met him, David K. called me, met him over at, I think it might have been Fuzzy's Tacos. Sat down, had lunch, and I could tell from the beginning, and I didn't know that much about him, but he has been extraordinary, and Baylor's had a bunch that have been extraordinary, and so good luck to Taylor Bryan. Waco Custom Marketplace is going to lose a great customer because he loved going over there.
He's probably just going to call Brian Etheridge, and when Brian comes down here, just say, hey, listen.
Back.
Yeah, bring it back.
When we had Phil Bennett on Monday, he mentioned Taylor Young, who they hired. And I said, so you got two of the Taylors from Baylor. And I don't know if it's official yet, but it's been in the works for about a week or so, but it becomes official now because Mean Green Sports has tweeted it out. And good luck to Taylor.
And he leaves on very good terms, and all of that. It's a career move that was the timing, was for it to happen. And he's taken a step up, and what all comes with that, and happy for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Good luck for Taylor. And David K. now is in the midst, and he should get tenure from this, being men's basketball athletic communications and also runs athletic communications for Baylor. This is something that David K. should not be forced to deal with.
Yeah,
replacing a five-star.
Yeah, and so he's got that. And by the way, congratulations to Max Calderon moving the chain as well, going to do some baseball. And Max was a former Baylor student. He was a great, when he was a student, he was great at stuff. He did an internship at the Big 12. So congratulations to Max Calderon as well. And look forward to see who the new football contact is.
Yep. Well, it'll be somebody, and David K. in that decision-making, so it's going to be very, very, very good. All right, coming up next, yesterday, while we were at Big 12 Media Days, we had a chance to talk to a lot of hellacious guests, I thought, and 5 of the 10 Big 12 coaches. One of them, of course, was Baylor's Dave Aranda. And we have put up some of the graphics, the quotes on his time with us, and also his main course when he started the Big 12 day yesterday in front of the massive media as well. Some of the breakout session stuff.
I just gotta point out that we talked to 5 of the 10 Big 12 head coaches, which is unheard of. It's not surprising to get a couple of them, but it's never Texas and OU.
I think our max has been 3.
Yeah, and not Texas and OU amongst those 3 with the Baylor coach. Yeah. I don't think so. So I think that was a really good run. And as you pointed out earlier, behind the scenes, guys did a tremendous job. as well. But, earlier we're talking about Dave Aranda, and you're asking me to get some more impressions, and I'm like, I'm kind of all out of impressions. I'm more interested in hearing what other people have to say, and it's been far more informative to hear other people give their thoughts. And so if you haven't heard it, I'd love to hear your thoughts after you listen to it next.
And by the way, 5 out of 10, one of them wasn't there.
Yes, Kansas.
Which will be the biggest Media Days conspiracy theory that ever lived. One of them we did not really reach out to, nor would he have come on our show. I mean, maybe not. And then the other ones, it just didn't work out. I mean, so we could have maybe gotten to 7, I think.
There was a chance we were going to get Neil Brown. The timing of it was not there. But Lincoln Riley, Steve Sarkisian, obviously Matt Wells, who was great too, and all of them were. I sent the Steve Sarkisian interview with a link to a friend of mine who's a booster, and he was like, he had not heard it. He didn't see it. He didn't know it. He's like, damn, Smokey, thanks for sharing that, which we did. And obviously, as well with Chris Kleiman, who was great to start off our coverage, and Coach Aranda.
I know we have to go here, but everybody knows that I'm not a big fan of the University of Texas. I don't think that's any surprise, but I do have respect. And raise your hand if you hate to admit this, but you kind of think Steve Sarkisian's the real deal and you were very impressed by him. That's everybody in the room. Yeah, I mean, got to be honest, he was super impressive and fun to talk to.
No, he was, and I'm telling you right now, he's likable. I know he's been through hell and back. Look at yourself in the mirror, and if you haven't, then you're lucky. But he has battled back, and I know sometimes just one-liners, off the cuff, whatever. The guy has battled back from demons. Good luck to him, and I tell you right now, I never wanted Tom Herman to win there, not just because it was Texas, because I didn't like the man at all. And but good luck. I like Mac Brown quite a bit. I know some of you didn't, but I did. Got to know him pretty well. So good luck to Steve Sarkisian with his start at Texas. This is SicEm365 Radio.
If you're trying to cope with liking someone you shouldn't, no. Riverbend Liquor and Wine. But Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street, a fantastic array of craft beers, a great selection of spirits like Balcones. They've got the single barrel release still, I believe, in stock. I'll have to check with Steve Chapman about that. They've got a great drive-through window that is so fast, it is ridiculous. Their customer service is second to none. They've got great, if you're trying to figure out a wine to get as a gift and you're not a wine person, they can do that. If they can tell you, I'm trying to get tequila as a gift, what's a good tequila? They know that. They know it all. They know the stuff. They've got new stuff that comes in all the time. They've got a great selection, a great staff, like I said before, and just a great place to go for whatever you need as far as a beer, wine, and spirits. And if you are a craft beer fan, go walk in that big refrigerator and just drink it all. Well, not drink it all in. You'd have to buy it to do that. But just enjoy all the different varieties that they have. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Allen Samuels is celebrating Jeep Freedom Days. It's an exciting time for the Jeep Cherokee and the new Grand Cherokee. Built tough as nails and able to stand up to any challenging off-road trails or city roads, travel with the innovative technology to meet your lifestyle. Jeep, a great SUV. Allen Samuels, the award-winning customer service Central Texas dealer, the best place to get your next SUV. Located at 201 West Loop 340, or visit them online at AllenSamuelsDCJ.com. Allen Samuels is your friend in the car business.
Come by, let's be friends.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T is board-certified physician consultations, will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
1, 2. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. I'm okay with that. He knows exactly what I want. He keeps me coming back. He cooks breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. Does the dishes too. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. Last name Barbecue. It sure is easy to fall in love with Rudy's tasty oak smoked barbecue.
Next in line. Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Purdy over the middle and intercepted. Tejada down the sideline. And pushed out of bounds.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Tom Albers, staying in touch with you and your money through these difficult and changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
We are joined by Baylor head football coach Dave Aranda with us, Paul Catalina, David and Craig Smoak on SicEm365 Radio. I've had a lot of people today come up to me after you had your time on the big podium and say, man, Coach Aranda seems at ease right now. You feel that way?
I've been told that, even prior to this, which there's been a lot of work that has gone in from really the start of last season all the way through, and so always working to really know what you're about, to know what you believe, to know what you think of this or what your thoughts on that. It's difficult. I think to have like a philosophy, to have something you believe in, and then to own it. I think it's easy to say, it's hard to do, and so I think a lot of this is that, and so I think it's ongoing, but I feel like we put a lot of work into it, and so I'm appreciative of that. I hope that continues to grow.
I asked Lincoln Riley this yesterday when we had him on about year 1 to year 2. Did you know what not to do or more what to do? So do you know what you're never going to do again now as a head coach now that you've done it for a year?
That's a good question. I think there's scenarios that come up where I would think of like how you would think about it. I would think of like the process that you went through, right? And the people that you talked to and the questions that you asked and the behavior that you saw and the steps that you took, like how could that be better? I think of like the process, because I think every situation is just so crazy and so different that I think, taking things for what they are right? And I think so many times as people, we've got to make sure that we're right inside prior to jumping into any type of action on the outside. Because if we're not, we're just going to take whatever we got in and throw it out, and we're only going to compound the problem, and then a lot of times not even see the problem. And so I think doing the work in here to make sure that when you do come up with something, you could see it clear, right, and see it for what it is, and then really talk with people so that it's not you versus me, but it's us, and we're kind of building it up.
How enjoyable was it to have, I mean, you've talked about it, but have the spring ball that you had, and just to have all of this time to get to know each other? You've spoken so often about that. It's clearly so important, but just what's that been like? I mean, to have that experience.
It's been awesome. I think, our team is a relational team, and I think we were having the discussion last night at dinner with, Terrell and Connor, and we're asking, and, we were earlier in the week, we were talking about, how much of this team do we feel is relational? How much of this team do we feel is, task-oriented? And I think it was a really good question. It was brought up, like I say, earlier this week, and I think it was interesting because coming back from the coaches were saying, Dave, we're like an 80% relational team, and some of the players, Terrell was one of them, was going, we're maybe 30% relational, we're 70%, task-oriented. But what I was trying to describe last night was that I don't think, Terrell, and I love Terrell, but I don't think he sees it, right? I don't think he sees just how Baylor is built. I know he knows it, right, but I think just the day-to-day, there's a story of like, two fishes are swimming this way, there's another fish swimming this way, and the fish is coming on, the other two goes, hey, it's good to see you guys, how's the water? And they keep swimming, and the two fish goes, what is he talking about, water? And so I think I brought that up. I would see Connor and Terrell in that type of instance. I just feel, and I love Baylor for this, and this is the reason why I wanted to come here, was that there's just so much relational aspect to it, whether it's relationships with the athletic trainers, with the learning specialists, with the academic tutors, with our administrators, right? Everyone it's more than just who you are as a player, it's who you are as a person. And so for us to really have a trust and have a true belief that someone's got my back, and it ain't about just what I do, it's about who I am, and they see me, man, right? They got me. Right, that is just so important, because you're front-loading an optimism now when things are bad or things go bad, which they're going to, that that someone's got your back, and that you can come out of it on the right side of it. And so there's been a lot of work at it, and I think to have guys like Connor and Terrell that have always been great guys, but really just transform and just to be leaders and really strong ones is just way cool to see.
How much can that help, I don't know if the word's overcome, but make up for if you have a weakness in talent at a certain place? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think very much so. I think so many times, it all starts with talent. That's the ground floor. And so can someone play on our team? Can someone contribute? Can someone help us win? And if the answer is yes to me, right, then the thing becomes, all right, what is their character, right? Are they about the team? Are they about themselves? Right? I think what ends up happening, though, a lot of times people will take that talent and go, well, that talent's here, but this talent's there, and they start overvaluing this talent. A lot of times, in my experience, it's not always this case, but a lot of times when you start doing that, some of the character things and some of the selfless things go down, right? And so there's negative return on that. And so I'd much rather have guys that have really great talent, right? And the more talent, the better. But let's have really good people that are about the team, about doing things right. We want it bigger than football.
If you don't mind following up on that, you can make decisions on who plays at Baylor. It's not just if the player wants to play here. Have you told or turned, or gotten away from someone that you were recruiting because of that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How much of your year has been maybe slanted more as opposed to learning systems, as opposed to learning your guys that you didn't get to learn last year? Because you have to reach people on different people respond to things differently, right, from a leadership standpoint. So you didn't really get to know that. Like, you had to kind of blanket, like, this is how I'm saying things and deal with it, because you didn't know them. How much of that has happened this offseason where you know how to reach maybe individual guys on their level more because you can get to actually know them as a human being?
No, all the time. Yeah, that's really what it's been about. Mm-hmm. And so the majority of our goal for summer, our number one goal is to engage. And so it's to get to know people. It's to sit down. Like, if we're sitting down for dinner, let's sit down with someone that I normally don't sit down with, someone that I normally don't roll with, right? If I'm walking to a class and I see a teammate, right, engage, go on over there and let's connect. You know, the number two goal for summer was to grow, right? And so it's to look at yourself and take a real strong, true inventory of kind of where I can get better and ownership of that. And let's, you know, the uncomfortableness that comes with, you know, getting outside of your comfort zone, I think, you know, it's going to be uncomfortable now, or it's going to probably hurt later. And so let's be uncomfortable now, and let's grow, and let's be better, you know. And then doing simple better is the third goal. And so, like, really finding something that we can really hone and take ownership of, and make it so, like, you know, I think, to me, like, if you are simple and really do your work, not only on who you are, but who we are and what we're doing. If you really do your work on being simple, simple can be sophisticated. You know, you can be a master of your craft and be at a different level, and people not even see the game that you're playing, right? When things are simple, because you can express yourself and take ownership of things, right? And maybe there's a song that's being played, but you are there's a melody now that you create that's your own. And I think that happens when simple can stay simple. And so I think those things, and getting to know our players, right, just being actively intentional about reaching out. But then, you know, there's learning style tests that we took on our players. So do they learn, you know, from seeing things? Do they learn from writing things? Do they learn from walking through things? Do they learn through, a lot of times guys learn by talking things out. Mm-hmm. So we have that on all of our guys. They took a test on how fast they process. And so, you know, think of like our baseball team at Baylor has taken this, and at LSU we had all of our sports teams take it. So think of a baseball player at home plate, and there's a pitcher, and the ball and the wind up, and the ball comes out of his hands, and is it a fastball, is it a curve, and the swing and all of it, like how fast does he process? At LSU, the guys that were really strong processors defensively, when they're coming in, when they're new especially, we put them in the middle of the defense. You know, so they're linebackers, safety, even some of our interior people. And the people that maybe had great skill, but their processing speeds weren't as great, we put them on the edge. You know, corner, outside edge rusher, where it's more job specific and less kind of free-flowing, less, you know, having to process. And so we have those grades back on them in terms of who they are and kind of how and where they're at. And so all of that is really what it's about. And it's about that, you know, really weaponizing that, right, into schemes. Now you're talking.
You dipped into the transfer portal, Jacob Gall, Drew Estrada, Grant Miller. How do you like the roster the way it's set up now? Do you feel like you have the necessary depth/talent that you want pretty much everywhere? Are there a couple spots maybe you're still unsure? Where do you sort of see the roster at this point?
I'm impressed with it. You know, we had one of our summer workouts. I think I might have mentioned it in there, and we had our O-line was together, and they dwarfed any other position group that we had, or maybe it's just the guys are so big that it just stood out that much. But it just seemed like that would be the collection of O-line and D-line that we played with last year, was just that one position group. And so you're talking about 3-4 guys deep. at every position. And so you do have, I think the right tackle spot is the spot where we got to see a guy emerge. And I think there's two guys that are really competing there. I think outside of that spot, you feel like, hey, there's a guy and he's being pushed by a guy and things could flip. The right tackle spot is, I don't know what's gonna occur there. And so I feel good about the O-line. I feel like, they all are unified. They are all aligned in terms of what we're doing and how we're doing it. I feel like Mateos has got a great feel for the heartbeat of that unit. I think they're very well connected. So I'm excited to see them go. We want to be O-line, D-line driven. We want them to lead, which is, when you talk about, for me, last year, there's multiple games where, like, how can we run the ball without really blocking these guys, right? How can we throw the ball without pass blocking these guys?
Yeah. If you find out how to do that, you'll be a bazillion.
And so to go from that stage to the stage that we want these guys out in front, owning it and leading, I mean, that's a big ask, but that's where it's at.
My early impression on Eric Mateos, I mean, he's clearly a rising star in the coaching business, but I don't know if I've seen a coach that can really meet people on their level like he can, and fits kind of maybe the modern athlete and knows how they think like he does.
I agree with that completely. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, he does a great job of it. He cares. I mean, it's bigger than football for him.
He told me that the offensive line problems or issues or whatever the concerns are, is not a talent issue, that it's more of just getting it. Some guys' clocks are running out, being pushed by a couple of transfers. Is that right? It's not a talent issue, that it's just, do they feel like they've had sand kicked in their face for the last maybe 12 months or so?
I'm sure. I think, I agree with that statement that he made. I 100% believe that. I think, you look at last year, it's compounded by, we would have starters that started O-line that we got back on Friday, right, that did not practice throughout the week. And so they got back on the team Friday, and then they had to start on Saturday because we had, 7 or 8 guys. And so I think you're talking about cohesion. You're talking about, hey, we'd like it to be where these are the guys, and they work together all the time. And this is, you're the left tackle, you're the right tackle, you're the left guard. It's not, I'm this, I'm that, I'm moving here, I'm moving there. Like, knowing who's to the left and right of you, and then getting things to where they're simple, because it comes when you're looking at some of the struggles that we've had, right? And you're looking at, and there's two ways. There's one way where it's like, hey, we can, this is going to be a hard road. We can construct this, we can construct that. On this look, we can make this up. In that look, we can do this, right? To try to make it an easier way from point A to point B. Or you could just say, hey, these are the fundamentals that are inherent in getting this done. Let's focus on this and let's just get good at it. Let's do what we do. And that's the path we're taking. I think when you say, hey, we've struggled in the past, and you say, hey, to drop back pass, we're going to do this. To play action pass, we're going to do this, and you're kind of flipping it all around. You're covering up the simplicity of teaching and learning and ownership, and all of it with complexity, and that's always going to bite you. I feel like last year is a great teacher in that, but it's always been that way.
Your love of football and just the game itself is well documented. In the offseason, how much of what you go and look at is the team from last year and what you guys can do, but also looking around football and different levels and kind of what's the new thing or what's this kind of thing? How do you kind of operate with that in your learning?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, you're always looking at trends. One of the things with COVID has been all of the online clinics, and so I think I've got maybe every offense or every clinic that has been out there. I think I've got, there's 400 some, 500 some speakers, and so in the morning when I get in and I'm doing my work, a lot of times I will play that clinic, and it'll be playing off to the side, and it's like my football piece. You know, it used to be like that used to be my life. You know,
right?
But now it's just kind of playing off to the side, and I'm taking it in, and if something really strikes me, I'll watch it, but I'm hearing it as I'm doing whatever I'm doing for the day. You know, but I think I watched a lot of NFL tape as well. I think some of the top people that ran the ball in the NFL and stopped the run, and we'll watch them. College-wise, I think some of the top points per possession people, I've watched them. And so takeaway people, I've watched them. So you have to be able to do that. And so that in the role that I am now, when I'm in meetings with offense and our defense, when things come up, I can speak from a position of, well, I've seen that too, and this is what I think.
Dave, when you were being interviewed and it looked like you were the person, and you know that Baylor has this cloud over them because of whatever the NCAA, did you one time say that no matter what the infractions are, if I win at Baylor, I will never leave Baylor? Right. What did you mean by that?
No, I just feel like it's I feel home here. I feel like we going back to that relational aspect. I feel like that's me. I feel like to be a better person is the reason why I took this job. One of the reasons. I feel like I was so involved with football, almost to the however manyth degree. And I look at my children. You know, Jalen is my oldest, and then Ronan is my youngest. And they have a little bit of whatever I got. They got that too. And so I just don't want them to be what I was becoming, which is the scientist, which is I'm gonna work at these. I'm gonna work at my little deal here. I'm gonna have all these answers here, and I'm gonna do all that. I just didn't, you can be a better husband. I can be a better father, right? They can be better people. And I feel like it's, you're uncomfortable when you're making that push, when you're saying, I was this, I want to be able to be that. I want to be better here.
So not be consumed with football?
Yes. Or just see that the person drives the coach, and the person drives the player. I think some of the pressure and the stressful pieces of this, like, to me, this is great. But it's like, I'm in it. I don't want to be of it, And so, like, to know who you are as a person, right? And to a lot of times, like, some of the previous jobs I was at with the stress and the pressure of all of it, a lot of times you didn't want to look in there. It's easier to just go out there and just do ball and all of it. And I feel like there's a lot of coaches that are that way. And, with our players, I think when you have success and guys are doing this to you, or you have failure and guys are doing this to you, really what you're saying is someone can push a button on you and make you feel good, and someone can push another button on you and make you feel bad.
It's like social media.
Yes. And so I just think, I think the mental health pieces that are now being openly talked about, which I'm so thankful for, I think, has always been there, but it's been in the shadows.
Dave Aranda, Baylor head football coach, with us at Big 12 Media Days on SicEm365 Radio.
How much of last year do you have to work that out still? Because some of that stuff is going to sting people forever and still be there. Chris Kleiman mentioned to us yesterday that, they'd be at practice and somebody comes out and goes, these two guys, they're out. And then you got three other guys like, we were all at dinner last night together. Like, I'm next. And then the next day, that's how it is. And they didn't see that come out of it until maybe spring football, where nobody came and tapped you on the shoulder.
Right. That's a really good question. I think that's something to yet be decided. I feel as if we have turned the corner on some of that, but if our vaccination rate, and we're working to get that up on our team, and that has been a process, and it's been something I've been very respectful of. I think there's a personal choice that comes into that, and so I've talked with both our staff and our players on it, and we'll see where we end up. I think we're getting up there, and so it's from a team perspective, it's really good to see. But I would like to not have that come up, you know, because we've been in that same case where Mac Hill has come up and tapped someone on the shoulder, and everyone is continuing to do what they do, but they know just what happened, you know. And so I think for us to be just collectively engaged and aligned, all working for the same goal, we're going to be tough to beat.
To end it with this, and then part of this is how important is it to have success immediately?
I think it's important.
Like wins and losses.
I think it's important. I think there's guys that, you know, from just who I am and just my style, that's one of the lessons from last year was probably just like how different I am, you know. So, you know, you don't look outside of the bottle, right? You can't see the label so much, so you kind of know, but you really don't know until you know. And so then I think there's certain guys I think that they do enjoy and they do want this style or my style to succeed, but they want to see success, and I can understand that.
Dave, thanks for your time, man. Good to see you.
The starting quarterback real quick.
Yeah, no. Yeah, do you know who it's going to be?
No.
You have no clue, right?
No.
That's why you have August, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And that might be a good thing right now. Who knows, right? Thanks for your time, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Baylor head coach Dave Aranda, Sic'em365 Radio. All right, so that's from yesterday. I still think that perhaps the best comment, and I've seen a little bit of this here and there, when someone put a note up about the interview, that was like spending 20 minutes with a combination of Jedi Knight, Buddhist monk, and ninja genius football guru. And I think that's about right.
Yeah.
That's about right. He is. I did go back again, like I admitted this yesterday. There are times he doesn't lose me because of what he's saying. He loses me because of my own mind and capabilities, right? But I did go back and listen to him, and 2 or 3 times stopped it, went back 2 minutes and listened to it again. And he is so comfortable right now, and he does talk at a level that sometimes you don't hear.
Yeah, no, okay. So when he was first introduced at Baylor, they had the big introduction in the Baylor Club, and by the time I had gotten there, you know, there was so much anticipation about the new head coach that it was a pretty good turnout. And I was forced to kind of have to sit by or stand by like the left wall to where he was. And even with the speaker like 15 feet away, I still could not hear hardly a single word that he said. So it was part set up and then part he was just talking so low that unless you were like up close, it was kind of difficult to make out what he was saying. And, you know, and then subsequently, you know, hearing him in interviews and he'd get a little louder, a little more open, but like, the way he showed up yesterday and just a smile on his face and how happy he was, and he was, you know, kissing babies, shaking hands, doing that whole thing. I mean, he seemed thrilled to be there. He seemed to be, you know, having a good time, and he seemed to be totally comfortable, and he was awesome to talk to.
I agree. When we come back down the road, not quite yet, Paul's top 5. A couple of other notes in our own profession, media profession itself. We'll also update a couple other stories from inside sports, whatever story it might be. We'll have that for you and more. Sic'em365 Radio. Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Come by, let's be friends. The month of July it's only midway through it. Of course, they started with 4th of July and all sorts of great incentives. Turning up the heat. Hottest deals with Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Fiat. Ram is the 3-peat Motor Trend Truck of the Year, back to back to back. Ram trucks are the top safety pick for trucks named in 2021. Gives you everything you need, reliability, built to haul, just like the truck you want. The 2021 Ram truck's the most loyal among truck owners' brand. The Jeep Freedom Day is going on. Most decorated SUVs stand up to whatever off-road challenges you have, the trails or even city roads, or your next great adventure. Incredible 2021 Jeeps feature innovative technology to meet your lifestyle, give you the ride you've been looking for. Jeep with a new era of capabilities. There's always the Chrysler Pacifica, discounts, values, and more. Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat, Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasonings, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The Sic'em365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
I want to thank, by the way, and I will say the guest at the end of the show again, as we always do, but thanks to Krista Pirtle for helping us out in getting Ryan Trokum, the Baylor transfer from Illinois in softball. Appreciate that. The changes that we mentioned, Taylor Bryan leaving for North Texas and all of what he's done as well. Now, an update of a couple of the local stories, and whatever you guys also have. Paul's got an interesting list that's driving me nuts, and Craig too, and maybe you, Paul. Nikki Collin today announcing her last assistant coach. It's Chloe Pavlick. She has been in Brooklyn the last 3 years. A bunch of social media content. Creator Fund, the first black creator fund, We the Culture. Produced, edited, wrote scripts for characters and confessions with Chloe. She was a graduate assistant at UConn, played basketball 4 years at Maryland. Her big, this is the thing that pops out because of the name, image, and likeness. She, an entrepreneurial experience with Overtime, allowing her uniquely to connect with generations of players, Also, the lead content strategist at Overtime WBB Women's Basketball, talent and head of women's sports at Overtime, host of a Snapchat original show. Paul, you done that?
I will do Snapchat over my cold, rotting corpse.
Okay. Same day you hugged Tim Tebow. Hype School is the name of the show.
He might bring me back from the dead. I don't know. Maybe I should.
Hype School is the name of the show. Produced more than 2 million subscribers, averaging a million views per episode. Also involved with TikTok and much more. She is an emerging platform strategist and talent evaluator, and she's now a part of the coaching staff. And yet we wanted to get a hold of her. She wasn't available today to us, and I'm not sure she comes on campus and will be there on Monday. So that's all I know. But that's it. Nikki Collins' staff. A lot of people have been waiting for that last coach. And I got to say this. I don't know behind the scenes. I don't know. I would love for Bill Brock to have found a place on the staff. I don't know what he did tell me that he would like to have stayed at Baylor. I mean, he put a lot of time into Baylor. I always felt like maybe he was going to be somebody, maybe an analyst or somebody on staff, because he's a hell of a basketball coach. And he's X's and O's, and he's also very good at recruiting. So I still don't know what his future might be or if it's retirement. All right?
Yeah, like I said earlier, seems like a very impressive young woman, and, obviously very in step with, today's digital age and all these various platforms and social media outlets. And, with name, image, likeness, that's where a lot of these athletes, most of them actually are going to make their money, is off of sponsored social media posts. So to have somebody that has experience in that world and building it out and, growing it, I think if you're a Lady Bears player, you're super thrilled about what this hire could potentially do for your, your personal brand, what have you. I'm still interested to, obviously, I know she's got experience, obviously, in basketball and UConn and all that. So I'm interested to learn more about her on the basketball side of things. But I think it's a very, sort of cutting edge hire in a way, as far as the outside of basketball standpoint. And I don't know how many other women's programs across the country, or even men's programs, have someone with that type of a background or that can, fill that type of a role. So I'm interested to learn more, but it sounds like they're very much thinking ahead of the curve rather than being slow to react to it.
You hear a lot about who's in front or who's behind. NIL is no question. It's they get outside the box, no doubt about it. She did play at Maryland 4 years. They have a pretty good basketball history.
Just a little bit.
Got that crazy coach. And then she was on the staff for Gino. It's a GA job, but at the same time. But it'll be interesting. And one of the things that I don't know is, like Craig said, is what her role will be. But in fact, might be able to connect with recruiting with just the social media presence, sure. Snapchat, TikTok, and all that. As much as, not saying she does not know how to evaluate talent, but Nikki Collins, of course, Tari Cummings, and oh my God, I just went blank.
Tony Green.
Yes, and Coach Green are the ones involved with that.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that because I haven't learned enough about her yet. But I mean, clearly she's got basketball experience and all that. I don't want to make it sound like this is some outsider that. No, not at all. I'm just focusing specifically on that social media aspect of her, and I can see where that was a big pull. And like I said, being on the forefront of what's new, what's hot, what's big with recruits and things like that. I think that'll obviously pay off, and she'll pay off, of course, on the basketball side as well.
All right, so
don't do this to me.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah, let's go.
Adam Rittenberg wrote a column on ESPN.com. It's in their plus section, but about ranking the 130 FBS head coaches as players. Now, some of them didn't play college football or maybe even high school football, like Jed Fish played tennis and then got into coaching football when he was in college in Florida and has moved his way up the ranks, is now the head coach of the Arizona Wildcats. Mike Leach he's 130. Mike Leach 129. He played rugby at BYU. David Cutcliffe is 120, 128. Manny Diaz 127. Dave Aranda 122. Tried to play but had a lot of shoulder injuries. Lincoln Riley 119. Walked on at Tech as a quarterback, but was a student assistant under Mike Leach, and clearly has a genius for it. So, a lot of people on this list. Phil Montgomery at Tulsa, he didn't let her at Tarleton, but he played. And so let's go to the top 10.
Okay.
Of best head coaches in FBS football based on their playing careers.
On their college football career as players, coaches.
So number 10 is Herm Edwards.
Herm Edwards, he played in the NFL, obviously part of a famous play, but okay.
Yes. Kyle Whittingham is number 9. I don't know why he's ahead.
He looks like a football coach.
Yeah.
Looks like a football player.
Yeah.
What did he play?
But he played at BYU, 240 tackles in his final 2 seasons, WAC Defensive Player of the Year in 1981.
All right, well, that's pretty good.
That'll work, yeah.
Number 8, Jonathan Smith, walk-on quarterback at Oregon State, started the final 39 games of his career. The best record in the history of Oregon State in 2000 and 11-1.
He started the final 39 games, so he just didn't start like the first one because that's a lot of dead games.
Yeah.
Sounds like, he started the last 3 games. He started the last 39 games of his career.
How many people missed on him? He was a walk-on and played 40 games, basically.
Yeah. Jeff Brom at Purdue, number
Hell
7.
Of a player.
Yeah, Louisville, really good.
Skip 6.
Yeah.
Skip it for now.
We're going to skip it for now.
I'm really frustrated with this.
Number 5, Steve Sarkisian was quarterback at BYU. He broke Steve Carrera's completion percentage record, won the Sammy Baugh Trophy. Number 4, Mike Gundy, who threw for a bunch of yards at Oklahoma State. Number 3, Josh Heupel.
He won a national title.
Yes.
Beat Florida State.
Don't want to talk
Scored
about it.
40 on him in that game.
He was, if you think back on it, he was kind of the missing piece to Oklahoma in a national championship. And I know that Roy Williams and all those guys were big reasons why that defense was super good. The big linebacker, was it Marshall, who was talking trash to Wenke in the pregame. And you got my boy's trophy because Wenke had won the Heisman, and he had thought that Heupel should have won it, so Heupel went out and won that national championship game. But Heupel was the piece that, Stoops inherited a lot, and then Heupel was the JUCO guy, and he put him over the top. And, they've had a lot of great quarterbacks since then who have played for titles, and none of them have won one but Heupel.
Yeah, he did come in as a JUCO. Was he a left-hander? Was he left-handed?
No,
Okay.
but he had a rag arm.
Yeah.
He threw for a lot of yards, but it was not. Yeah. The ball wasn't. If you dropped it, it was definitely on you.
Right.
Because it wasn't coming that fast. Mm-hmm. Number 2, Pat Fitzgerald is a college football Hall of Famer. Was a fantastic player at Northwestern. And number 1 is Jim Harbaugh at Michigan, who was one of the better quarterbacks in the Big Ten.
Did you say Josh Heupel had a rag arm?
Yeah.
He was pretty good.
Yeah, but he wasn't throwing.
He wasn't throwing darts.
He wasn't a pro prospect.
Do you know how many times I've watched that game from 2000?
That was against one game.
But the game against A&M that same year, where A&M had him dead to rights, and just watching him dink and dunk the ball down the field, going, "How can you not catch up to this thing?"
What does Drew Brees do?
Drew Brees has a better arm than Josh Heupel.
He dinks and dunks, right?
Yeah, he got better though.
Okay, well, he's right. Heupel did not have like a super strong arm. We're not talking about Trevor
Lawrence. Arm. I thought he was a pretty good player.
He had an average arm.
They had a great defense, and they were ahead of the curve on some of the jet sweep stuff like
Quentin
that.
Griffin,
tunnel
who you
screen.
Just couldn't. Yeah. Number 6 was Scott Frost, who won a national title.
All right,
and
who's
was
5?
Dominant.
Gundy.
Sark is 5 and Gundy is 4.
Scott Frost won a national title, ran an offense that was brilliant. Obviously, I know it was Osborne's last year. He was physical. He's a great player. He didn't start all 4 years, but I'm not so sure he shouldn't at least be 3 on that list.
Oh, I think that you could make
Fitzgerald's fine. A Harbaugh, he was pretty good.
Dude, look, Mike Gundy as starting quarterback. Now, granted, this was a different era, but in 1986, let's see here, he played in 9 games, had 8 TDs and 5 interceptions with a 52% completion rate. Now, this doesn't have the rushing stats. Oh, we don't want to look at those. Those are not going to help his argument here. In 87, he played in all 11 games. Threw for over 2,000 yards, which is cool, but had 13 to an 11 touchdown to interception ratio. Junior year in 88, 19 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. 89, 14 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. His career, 54 touchdowns, 37 interceptions. He is not better than Scott frickin' Frost, dude. In no world in college football is Mike Gundy a better player than Scott frickin' Frost.
No. And I know I'm a homer here.
Or a Sarkisian.
Frost threw for 1,237 yards, only 5 touchdowns in 97, but he ran for 1,095 and 19 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And, they got fortunate in 97. They had that kick ball against, Missouri in the end zone, but he was 24-2 as the quarterback.
Yeah,
and they have not won a national title since.
I think with Gundy, the lure there is that he was throwing the ball more in an era when it wasn't being thrown as much, because if you look back at like where he ranked at the time in like the Big 8, he was number 1 in like every passing category for 3 years running, but the numbers aren't even all that impressive. So it's kind of like, not by I don't want to make him sound like he wasn't a good player at all, but he was not Scott Frost.
Well,
dude,
I mean,
give me a
also,
freaking break.
I'll tell you right now, if you just compare position by position, he's not better than a Herm Edwards.
No.
Was it? You know, so it's just, I don't know. I mean, like Adam Rittenberg did this, and he clearly is going to spark a lot of debate, but
that's fine. I like Adam. He's good. He's good
I mean, he took the time to put all those coaches together, and it's interesting. It's an interesting concept. It really is. But I got to argue mightily with having Scott Frost behind like 4 of those guys.
If there
That's
were 5 or 6
ridiculous.
guys ahead of him that were just no-brainers.
Matt Campbell, by the way, at 29, Mountain Union, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. There you go. All right. That's interesting. I wouldn't want to have to do that project.
No.
I wouldn't want to have to rank it.
Just wait until Dion gets bumped up a level. He'll be the surefire number 1. He'll be the surefire.
No, they'll still have Gundy right ahead of him.
Yeah, Gundy will be ahead of Dion because he finished first in Big 12 passing in the 80s. I don't know.
Oh, my Lord. Good Lord.
No disrespect, but he was not better than Scott Frost. I will never,
I mean, Dion
ever,
is,
ever.
I mean, how many NFL Hall of Famers are college head coaches? Just him.
I think it's just him, yeah. Yeah, I'd have to look around, but I think it's pretty much just him.
We updated you on the Open Championship about an hour ago when we had Art Strickland on. Again, Louis Oosthuizen leads by a couple of strokes over Colin Morikawa, and then 3 up on Jordan Spieth, who's right there in the middle of it. I thought Spieth should have gone lower today. Had a lot of birdie opportunities, but he didn't convert. But he had a great start. But he's right there, 8 under. Right there at 8 under par. Mickelson finished well back. He shot 80 and a 72, missed the cut badly, as did a few other names. But most of the big names that were in the tournament, 98% of them or so probably, are still playing. And don't forget, Rahm and Dustin Johnson are lurking at 5 under par. They got themselves back in
Brooks
it.
Koepka.
And Koepka, too. That's right. I keep thinking he's like at 2 or 3 under. A couple of other NBA notes. When's Game 5? That's Sunday? When is Game 5 of the NBA playoffs? I forgot. Tomorrow night, that series tied 2-piece. Also, Damian Lillard apparently is about to want to get traded from Portland.
Well, he said his intention has always been to stay there, but he doesn't know what he's going to do, which is not good news for him.
He wants a sense of urgency. I see nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I see nothing wrong with that. But it went from he wanted to be traded to then him saying, no, I just want us to have a sense of urgency. He said that today while at practice for the U.S. team.
It is funny how teams sometimes take on the personality of their cities, and that there is no sense of urgency in Portland, which I think you could say is kind of the vibe of that whole city.
Dude, I know it's like beautiful country up there, but I wouldn't want to be in Portland either. Just too much loony stuff.
Is that where that group is?
I mean, there were some. I mean, they have protests, all that stuff.
They protest year round. Yeah. They were protesting before protests became popular because they're a bunch of dorks.
My sister took a road trip up there and calls me one day and goes, "Oh, I've got to move. We got to move to Oregon. We got to move to Oregon." And I said, you know what? All right, here's what I want you to do. Just go on Zillow right now and see how much the crappiest house you just drove by. Like, drive by a house.
350?
And ask me how much that house is. And she was like, we can't move to Oregon. I was like, I told you. I mean, it's ridiculous.
It is
I
a
said,
beautiful
and then not
place.
only that, they're going to tax you like crazy on that house.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, remember Drew Robinson, who survived the suicide attempt, came back, played baseball for a little bit for a couple of months with the Giants AAA affiliate. He has joined their front office. He's retiring from the game, but still an incredible comeback and a story, because he might not be here today just by a matter of millimeters or whatever else.
This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55.
Brought to you by Slapsticks Comedy Club. Look, the tickets available for tonight's shows. 2 shows, 7 and 9 o'clock. Tonight, 2 stand-up shows. Tomorrow night, improv at 7 o'clock with the So-and-Sos, of which I am a part of, and stand-up at 9 o'clock. So please, come out to Slapsticks Comedy. Get your tickets, slapstickscomedy.com. Top 5 things we learned about Baylor at Media Days. Number 5 is all the work they did on the mental and emotional aspects of football, of being part of a team, of building that team aspect with Dave Aranda. He didn't get to do in year one.
You heard all the coaches talk about that.
Yeah, a lot of times been spin on that, and it's almost like you can't ask Dave Aranda a question without it turning into that too. Like everything comes back to those relationships and that getting to know each other and all of that. And we and others, I'm sure, have pointed that out as a reason why last year wasn't as great as it could have been. But there's, also a multitude of other reasons as well. And so I don't know how you can hear him now talking about the team and then hear what Terrell Bernard said, for example, and not feel like just based on relationships alone, they're going to be a better football team.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see how that doesn't turn into them being more improved on the field, all this off the field work they've done.
And number 4, speaking of Terrell Bernard, he is ready to go.
Yeah,
his shoulder is fine. He went through a lot, and he had his doubts, but he went through a lot. He's ready to go. Looks good and strong, and he looks like he's got it all back. So that shoulder is ready. He is ready to go, and that's a key thing for this defense is that he's not going to have any lingering problems.
Yeah, and what he said about Siaka Apu. With what he did, he and both Connor Galvin, I may have been stealing.
Said he can move. No.
Okay. Well, really?
Yeah.
Damn it. Okay, let me think of what else you're going to put up here. All right.
Yeah.
Did you see what Dave Aranda said when I asked him? No, it was Matt Wells. And when he gets to somebody, it's like a can opener that grabs a can. That's what Terrell Bernard reminds me of when he's tackling somebody.
Yeah. Number 3, the offensive line is starting to build some continuity. I mean, they're starting to build. Connor Galvin, admitted that they didn't have any before. That they're kind of rotating through a different 7 and 8 guys last year, and that it wasn't really easy and it was tough. But that he feels that they've got some guys that can play multiple positions, and I know the proof's going to be in the pudding. But it's good to hear that because they did not at any point nobody BS. I think Xavier Newman Johnson for a little bit. He kind of was like, no, I'm fine. But it was clearly something was going on there. But anytime you asked offensive lineman what was going on, they're like, yeah, we know we're not playing well.
Yeah, he was honest about it. He was a little bit edgy, and that's fine, too. He should be. That's his position. He's proud of it. He's a left tackle senior. One of the things that we did hear from him, though, and we heard this and then again we didn't, is that on Thursday, they didn't know, what was it? There were players that weren't practicing and then came in on Friday to practice and play the next day.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Aranda who said that or if it was Connor Galvin who said that, but that was crazy too. But that sure can't get continuity if you're not together.
Yeah. Number 2, the defensive backs are the strongest group right now, according to Dave Aranda. I mean, he feels really, really bullish about them. LSU is DBU. I think a year with guys like Raleigh Tejada, Kalen Barnes, JT Woods, Christian Morgan, with him is only going to make them that much better. And they were already good players. I think that you could see a couple guys move from good to great this year.
Yeah, I mean, Kalen Barnes needs to live up to the lofty expectations. I mean, he got a lot of hype because he was fast and a good athlete, and I think he, definitely missed out on making a couple of potential game-changing plays last year due to having a cast on his hands. So without that, and with guys like Morgan and Woods showing more ability to be disruptive with the football and make some actual plays, get some actual turnovers, which was, kind of rare a couple years. I mean, not a couple years, but it was sometimes rare. They started to kind of get a little bit of momentum in that regard. And, man, you started getting the teams getting some turnovers created, and, the whole thing just can flip.
Yeah, so, it can. It's a tremendous confidence boost when you get a pick. And then remember that it was a couple years, even until 18 when they couldn't pick off a pass.
Couldn't get a
in the
turnover.
Texas Tech game, they got a couple of them. The next thing you know, they got a few more, and then became a turnover machine in 19.
Yeah, it adds up. So, I mean, Woods, Morgan, Barnes, Tejada. I don't know how you can't be excited about this group, but they're all, that's the other thing is this is an older group now. These are all basically seniors at this point, 5th-year seniors, 4th-year seniors, what have you. So, big season in store, but hopefully they live up to it.
Yeah, at worst, you're a 3rd-year sophomore in that group if you miss any time. Number 1, what all the quarterbacks need to work on specifically. Blake Shapen needs to learn the offense. Gary Bohannon has to get better at passing. Jacob Zeno has to, all the different things that they were specific about. Here's what everybody brings to the table and what they need to work on. That's kind of a different perspective that you hear. And I don't think Dave Aranda has the capacity to coach speak his way of, well, they're just going to go play Baylor Bear football kind of a thing. Like, they're going to do what they do. I don't think that's how his
almost
mind
honest to not a fault.
But, I mean, he's just going to tell you this is what they need to work on.
You can't combine all three of them like a thing of gumbo, and it's a great meal. They're all different in many ways.
I don't know that this was Dave Aranda's intention, and I certainly am just guessing here, but coaches also definitely say things in the media that they know their players are going to read and react to, and so therefore they say those things intentionally to make sure it gets in a roundabout way to said players. So if you're the quarterbacks and you're looking at updates on Big 12 Media Days and you saw what he said about what people need to work on, well, it probably sends a message to you. Now, I'm not saying that was his intention, but that's definitely what coaches do from time to time. So,
and if the players don't see it, their parents do.
Yeah, and
or
so
friends do.
I look at it as, whether or not he meant to do it, he didn't do it in a negative way in any shape or form, and he had plenty of positive things to say. But, I mean, you know what to work on if you're any of these guys. The only one he didn't mention was Drones, who you just assume is redshirting. But, yeah, I mean, it's not hard to figure out what coach is looking for after hearing him yesterday.
Had a fun time. Probably the best 2 days at a Big 12 Media Days that I can remember as far as access and the setup. Yeah. Jack and Hayden. It was great what you guys did. Obviously, Colton Grayson there as well. Brian and Ashley with their amazing support as well. And thanks to Three Nations Beer Brewing Company for their support of our Big 12 coverage at Media Days in Arlington. But all of our sponsors every single day that allow this to happen, we appreciate you. Thanks to Ryan Trochum, Grayson Grunhafer, Daryl Williamson, Art Strickland, and also thanks to you for watching and listening. Spread the word. Back Monday, we've got a pretty darn good show lined up already before we even end this one. For Paul and Craig, I'm David, and this is SicEm365 Radio. Good night.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.